My dad thinks I'm wearing a bathing suit. I guess I could, it probably is a bathing suit. It's not, I mean, technically, but I could see why someone born in the late 50s would accuse you of such. Okay, we are live on Twitch. Hold on, let me refresh YouTube one more time. YouTube takes a while. There we go. Okay. Yay, it's hump day. Let me set my super chat goal really quick. And then we can get this party started. We have so many things to talk about today. And I'm excited for tomorrow too, because you guys know I love Congress, okay, that is not true. I'm fascinated by what goes on Capitol Hill, and I like following it. And, I think tomorrow we'll do like a full live of just remember that 48 hours when I stayed like awake while the House was debating the big shitty bill. Well, that's pretty much started a few hours ago in the Senate, and it is so crazy. So I'm going to kind of cover a lot of things, that have to do with that today. And then I think tomorrow I'll go through, because there's actually a lot going on in the House too in Congress today. So I think tomorrow we'll have a full day of just shit show Capitol Hill. It'll be awesome. Keep tapping the screen. Let's get to 50K. Hey, is it me or is this? We are always at 420 subs, just saying reach and do shoutouts. All right, let me just finish this really quick. Last thing on YouTube, and then we are ready to go. Hey, Leah, I knew you'd be there. It's nice seeing you every day, Leah. And by the way, Steph, that was so funny in the Discord. That said, Felice, are you that friend that texts you're on the road, but you're at home still in a towel? No, I mean, not usually, actually. Not like the business world. Actually, my therapist, this is interesting. My therapist has kind of told me, one of my therapists, I have two. Well, one's a psychiatrist. But my therapist told me that she actually thinks it's a sign that I'm healing. That I used to be 15 minutes early to everything. And like, I was a perfectionist, which is very unhealthy. And then I went to, I played Division I volleyball, and if for every minute we were late, you don't show up late in sports. Let's put it that way. But every minute we were late in college, it's like one stadium bleacher up, which is literal torture. So I was terrified of making mistakes as a child, and then that's reinforced in athletics because every little mistake you basically run until you throw up. And I've gone to a lot of therapy to like be okay with not being perfect. So it's actually probably a sign that I'm less messed up. Like if I was a minute late, like in corporate America, I would like want to cry. So I might be actually getting healthier. It's sad because I used to be motivated by fear, fear of failure, fear of not being perfect. And my therapist said, like, when you heal, you start healing from a lot of trauma. Like you've got to find like new things that motivate you. Because now that it's just not like abject fear that drives me to do everything perfectly. Yeah, exactly. See, I thought if I told this story, people would relate to it, that it's like, then you find healthy things that motivate you and other things. And I'm like, well, better late than never, I suppose. Thank God. Because living that way, never sleeping for fear you're going to be like 1 minute late to something, it's no way to live. Thank you guys so much for tapping the screen. We're at 12K. Let's tap the screen, get to 50K. This is going to be a good show. I'm actually excited. Hold on. I need to turn my air down just a little. It's a little hot in here. It's humid in Phoenix. It rained for like 2 days. I'm not used to humidity. Let me just turn the air down a couple degrees because I'm a baby. Oh, and now I guess I can show you my shirt now that my dad thinks I'm wearing a bathing suit, but it's really cute. Isn't it? It's cute, right? And you know what makes it cuter? I got it for like $10, so that makes it the most cute. Because when things don't cost money, then I can enjoy them more. Or it is like bathing suit material. I'm not great with materials, so, but yeah, it's similar to bathing suit material. I know, and I love the color too, especially because I have green eyes. I used to wear green so much I would looked insane, and that I realized I had to back up off of it. But this is like a sane green color, so good. Oh, and one more update before we get this political party started. Mr. Mittens is doing so much better. I thought this could be like the last sickness he never recovered from. That's my cat. He's 19, so I get really scared when he's sick. I thought he had like some pneumonia and probably couldn't get better. And he's been sick from the antibiotics, but he's amazing now. I don't even think he has allergies. I just think he was so sick. Yeah, he's not, his eyes aren't watering. I know. Steve, I was talking to Steve, Facts Still Matter today, and he's like, how's your dad? I'm like, who cares about my dad? My cat is better. I don't know what I'm going to do. And Mr. Mittens, fine. I mean, he's lived a long life, but I don't want him to die because I didn't take care of him. I know he's doing so well. Now, I made the mistake of saying this one time, but like, I think people misunderstand me when I say like, hey, I'm glad to see Nick Fuentes is less shitty. I'm not saying he's not awful. I understand he is. I'm just saying Nick Fuentes was a 19-year-old kid who, what did I know when I was 19? Certainly nothing about politics. I just remember when he crashed CPAC and I was like, oh God, this kid's an idiot, a 19-year-old idiot. And we're going to be trapped with him forever. And I feel like 5 years later or 6, however long, it's been a long time since that CPAC when he basically was banned and broken. Well, I'm just noticing he's starting to sound a lot saner. And I mean, still awful. Just want to be very clear. Still awful. Still absolutely horrible and needs extensive therapy because he's Mexican and yet a white nationalist all at once. And that doesn't make much sense. But he made this video, which I've been saying this stuff that Charlie Kirk can't debate. And I'm like, or I don't know if you guys have seen Jordan Peterson. I was about to forget his name. Jordan Peterson is another example. Like the right considers like so sad to say this, Jordan Peterson and Charlie Kirk, they're best debaters. Like, give up. Like, I played that clip of Charlie Kirk being humiliated. Well, now I hear he's not even a Cambridge professor. He's like some guy that works in the finance department. That embarrassed Charlie Kirk at Cambridge. So who even know? They're just like anybody does a lawn care worker at Cambridge want to embarrass Charlie Kirk really quick. So anyways, Nick Fuentes made a video about it, and actually there's very few times I can agree with words Nick Fuentes said, so I thought you guys might enjoy this.
It seems like the left-wing debate bros have won. I can't be the only one that saw Charlie.
Just how Nick Fuentes can't imagine a world where women can engage in political discourse. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
left-wing debate bros have won. I can't be the only one that saw Charlie Kirk get blown out on that point. Jordan Peterson get blown out on that point and realize the end is nigh. For the conservative grifter, it's over. Because everybody that has put these people up on a pedestal, Peterson and Charlie Kirk have all the answers. If I hear a left-wing argument, I go to Charlie Kirk and Peterson to hear why that's not true. They've got all the answers. They're the masters of knowledge. Their weakness in both cases is their hypocrisy. And that's where a liberal can pull at that string and unravel the entire grift. You say you're America first, but you support this genocide in Gaza and our aircraft carriers and foreign aid and all that over there. You're a traitor. You're corrupt. You've sold out our country to the highest bidder, and history will remember it that way. You've got nothing. You've got nothing. If the young, energetic, thoughtful young people that are going viral and blowing up on TikTok, if they're on the other side, if they're on the left, that spells a lot of trouble for the right wing. And all their casuals, vaguely conservative people that, they want to show up to the Charlie.
I'm saying, like, I think a lot of people don't. Thank you so much for the galaxy. Amazing. I think people don't understand. Like, I have to keep my eye on these people. So I feel like Nick Fuentes has changed a lot in the last 5 years. That's what I keep saying. But people think I'm not sympathetic towards him. He's a little asshole. Like, I don't like him. I just see him like following lines of Like, he spends a lot of time now, rather than just being a creepy white nationalist, like calling out hypocrisy on the right. I'm not defending it. It's just, I find it hilarious to watch Charlie Kirk under attack from the actual far right fringe.
Kirk thing and get their signed MAGA hat or something, it spells the end for them. If Ben Shapiro and Jordan Peterson and Charlie Kirk can't annihilate the SJWs anymore, then what can they do? Because you have to consider that these conservatives, they do these intramural debates for a living. They do this professionally. Jordan Peterson is, I think, in his 60s or 70s. He has a PhD. He's a university professor with decades of experience with the clinical practice. He's a psychologist.
Does Jordan Peterson have a clinical practice? Was that debunked? I don't know if that's true or not. I feel like a lot of people looked in. I don't know if he's like, if Jordan Peterson has all those qualifications.
And he's debating 20 liberal kids. And when you're in a room with 20 liberal debate bros, 20 liberal semantic pedants who are going to get you on every little thing, I mean, that they're masters of the gotcha, there's nowhere to run. You're in a fluorescently lit warehouse with 20 liberal debate bros, and your entire life is about to be hydraulic pressed by facts and logic, and you can't fucking cry either. You can't cry your way out of this one. This isn't Piers Morgan.
Man, sometimes I could agree with Nick Fuentes on something. Charlie Kirk and Jordan Peterson are terrible debaters. We can all agree on something. And Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro's thinks he's in a competition for who talks the fastest, which is ridiculous. Okay. Red alert. I've been really worried about this. I have to say, I'm actually, even though I'm sitting here mocking Charlie Kirk, I'm actually glad. I was worried that Charlie Kirk was going to run for governor of Arizona. Thank you so much for the gift. That was my worst fear, was that it was going to be Charlie Kirk. Thank you. But it's Andy Biggs. Andy Biggs is going to run against Katie Hobbs for the governor of Arizona, and we really cannot have... I've never seen that gift. Thank you so much, Dolphin. You're amazing. I love a corgi. My brother has 2 corgis. He's in a corgi club. So I'm very partial to them. This is Andy Biggs. If you don't know, he's in the Free Dumb Caucus in the House. The good news is it's going to free up a previously extremely gerrymandered seat. So that's great news. Bad news is, I don't know. Katie Hobbs does not debate. Speaking of debate bros, our governor, she ran against Carrie Lake. But, I mean, thank God the Republicans are hypocritical and burying themselves at this point, so nobody really listens to them or anything they want. But yeah, the reason I'm bringing this up is because they had a I don't know if you call it town hall. This is what is that? That was like a walking desk in space. Thank you so much. What a cool gift. Don't stop. We'll never get anywhere. I'll just be like, wow. And my ADHD medication has not kicked in yet. So just like he has America Fest every December, I've talked about this. I keep telling Fax and Matt we should go. It's like America Fest is where all the biggest MAGA weirdos gather every December, especially on election years. After the midterms, it'll be pretty big. When Carrie Lake lost the governor's race, they all went there and said that, Katie Hobbs had cheated and made up all these crazy lies. It's wacko. Sometimes he has the Women's Summit Leadership, or what is it called? It's soon again, Women's Leadership Summit or something. It's where MAGA women tell women to get in the kitchen and be trad wives. I just saw the speaker list for this year's Turning Point Women's Leadership Summit. I have to find the clips from last year. I could not believe it. Literally is like a trad wife conference where they're like, you don't really need to have a job, ladies. Just marry a embarrassing, insecure conservative man and follow him around. What could go wrong? So anyways, Charlie Kirk and Turning Point held this rally for Andy Biggs running for governor in Arizona, and let's never let this die, because there's one rule in Arizona politics: you do not speak ill of John McCain. It's, if you remember, it's a big reason. Even though Scary Fake, or Carrie Lake, depending on how you know her, is a complete fraud and just lies and lies and lies, a big part of the reason she still didn't win, Arizona's a pretty Republican place, is because she would not stop talking S about John McCain, and people will not have it in Arizona. Listen to what Charlie Kirk... I can die now. That is the cutest thing I've ever seen in my life. I literally want to cry. What is going on? Thank you so much. That is the most adorable thing I've ever seen. I love that. Thank you. So this is what Charlie Kirk had to say about John McCain. Again, the one rule you don't... I mean, it wasn't Andy Biggs, but this is not going to win you a governor's race in Arizona.
This state has been the central player in the Trump story, because this was the state where you had so many Republicans say, I don't support President Trump. But you know what was so good about that? Is we found out they weren't actually Republicans all along. They exposed themselves. They were using the Republican label to get your vote. They were using the Republican name to get your support, but they weren't actually going to D.C. to go fight for your values. Jeff Flake, John McCain. This state...
He's lost his ever-loving mind for even doing that. Like, that's how Carrie Lake didn't get elected. So let's do keep talking ass. But it just, now on X, and again, not recommending anyone go on X for their mental health, but this is why we don't speak ill of John McCain. And believe me, John McCain absolutely was a Republican. I was trapped under his rule in Arizona. And yeah, all the things you believe about Republicans, John McCain pretty much was. I will say this, though. I don't think anyone, whether you're a leftist or to the far right fringe, would say, like, I believe John McCain worked for Arizona until the day he unalived. Literally, he was like... about to unalive of brain cancer and was still voting, saving the Affordable Care Act. Like, the guy loved Arizona. Anyway, so because Charlie Kirk decided to do the one thing you're not allowed to do in Arizona, which is shame John McCain, these clips of John McCain when he's a war hero. His plane was downed and he was kept in prison. He's a prisoner of war, and he could have gone home and was like, I'm not leaving until all my guys are out of here, and stayed in prison. Like, anyways, so now this clip has gone viral. Just want to remind everyone, the Trump quote. Trump said he's not a war hero. I like people that weren't captured. I mean, Trump has done everything he can to shit on John McCain, to erase his memory, but I don't think it's going to work. This is the John McCain that Arizona loves.
What is your name?
Lieutenant Commander John McCain.
How many raids have you done until the last one?
23.
In which circumstances have you been shot down?
I was on a flight over the city of Hanoi, and I was bombing and was hit by either missile or anti-aircraft fire. I'm not sure which. And the plane continued straight down. And I ejected and broke my leg and both arms and went into a lake, parachuted into a lake. And I was picked up by some North Vietnamese and taken to the hospital, where I almost died. I would just like to tell my wife I will get well. I love her. I hope to see her soon.
That's You never speak ill of John McCain in Arizona. And we would choose John McCain over Donald Trump in Arizona any day. And the reason Trump is mad, if you don't remember, and when Charlie Kirk's talking about all these Republicans who aren't real Republicans, it's because Republicans in Arizona, I saw people in the comments saying I'm in Mesa, right? Mesa, Gilbert is where I think the Mormon temple is. There's a lot of Mormons who will not back Donald Trump, right? If you remember when Trump was trying to steal the 2020 election, our speaker, the state speaker of the House, Rusty Bowers, he's a Mormon guy, a close ally of John McCain, and refused to back Trump's lie and let him try to steal Arizona or find fake votes. And Trump has never forgiven the Republicans in Arizona for having a sense of right and wrong and doing the right thing. That's really what it's about. That's why Trump is mad at Republicans in Arizona. And when Kamala Harris, oh my gosh, now I can't remember his name, but one of the most famous, like probably like the de facto Mormon leader of Arizona, who's the mayor of Mesa, I mean, went and campaigned for Kamala Harris and is just like, if you're a Mormon, in good conscience, you cannot support Donald Trump. So Trump has never forgiven the Republicans in Arizona who know the difference between the truth and a lie. And believe me, they are Republicans. They don't want women to have control of their bodies. They're real Republicans. Trust me. It's just they're not going to lie for Donald Trump. And so now, like, it's Charlie Kirk thinks it's acceptable. And Charlie Kirk lives in Arizona. He should know better. They booed Carrie Lake off the stage when she tried to talk about Trump. And I just want to remind everyone who Charlie Kirk is. This is Charlie Kirk, a clip from Charlie Kirk's podcast, Thought Crimes, with his creepy little bigot friends. I just wanted to remind everyone of who Charlie Kirk is.
Think this United story and the DEI story hits so hard because we've all been in the back of a plane when the turbulence hits or when you're flying through a storm and you're like, I'm so glad I saw the guy with the right stuff and the square jaw get into the cockpit before we took off. And I feel better now thinking about that.
You want to go thought crime? Like, I'm sorry, if I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified.
Well, that's the you wouldn't have done that. You wouldn't have done that before.
That's not an immediate.
No, you wouldn't have done that before.
That's not who I am. That's not what I believe.
It is the reality the left has created.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what color you are. Pilot tests are the same. Just to be clear. Yeah, I mean, pretending that DEI has something to do like that just because, I mean, it's a lie, but just reminding everyone of who Charlie Kirk is. And at this rally of creepiness, which Matt Gaetz, as child, the guy whose ethics report says that he was having sex with people underage and all sorts of things. Matt Gaetz was there campaigning for Andy Biggs. And then there was Lauren Boebert saying very weird things. Would you fly to Arizona and scream at the people of Arizona that they stole water from the Colorado River? If that doesn't make sense, like the Colorado River runs into the Grand Canyon. There's an agreement between Arizona, California, and Colorado. We split water from the Colorado River. I don't even have that clip, but this weirdo was yelling at people in Arizona that we're stealing water from Colorado. The Colorado River is in Arizona. Just clear. So no one knows what she's talking about.
As governor of Arizona, Andy Biggs will continue that fight on your behalf. And I know you don't have a governor's mansion to send him to, but maybe we can get one built someday. You put that $90,000 salary towards a governor's mansion or something.
Lauren Boebert said that he's going to donate his $90,000 salary. We don't have a governor's mansion because we used to be, Arizona was a very conservative state where we're not paying our tax dollars to house people who are already rich. Yeah, that's why we don't have a governor's mansion. We don't even own our Capitol building. We basically had to sell it and then lease it back to ourselves because our budget wasn't balanced. The last thing we need to do is build a palace for people to live in who are public servants. We have an affordable housing problem in Arizona. Chicanos por la Causa, which is a great organization I used to protest with. It's why, like, Tom Morello from Rage Against the Machines always in Phoenix protesting, and they're donating $90 million to help bring more housing because Republicans made it legal for corporations to hold homes as assets and use them as Airbnbs, and so nobody in this state has any affordable housing. Meanwhile, we should build a palace for insider traders in Congress to then run for governor and live in there. No, thank you, Lauren. Shut it. Oh, here's another one. God wants Andy Biggs to be governor of Arizona. Says who?
This is a pivotal moment, and I believe that God has his hand on candidates like Andy Biggs because they follow him, a man after God's own heart.
God have his hand on your hand when you were in Beetlejuice giving a Andrew Jackson to a rich Democrat from Aspen, Colorado, Lauren Boebert? Or did God have his hand on you when you've been lurking around at 3 a.m. in New York with Kid Rock? Is that God working through you, Lauren Boebert? Please don't speak anymore. And Colorado, if you continue electing this woman, there really is just no excuse. This woman could not find her way out of a paper bag. Like, God had his hand on Lauren's hand. Please don't speak for God, Bobo. You're an embarrassment. Oh, here's another one. And this is so appropriate today because the Republicans are a bunch of Republicans in the Freedom Caucus are now like, yeah, Elon's right about the big beautiful bill. It's robbing everyone. It's going to blow up the deficit. It's like, why did you all vote for it then? It's super weird you all voted for it and are now angry about it. So you guys can't read or you guys are liars? Like, which one is it?
Together, he and I and a handful of others, some that you have heard from and will hear from tonight, like Matt Gaetz and Eli Crane, we took on the swamp head on to have fundamental institutional changes, to implement single subject bills. Pretty common sense.
How ironic it is that she voted for a 1,000 plus, like 1,200 page bill and is now pretending that she cares about single subject bills. You guys only care about single subject bills when you're making up lies about Democrats. But if a guy who's robbing us all, I mean, basic math, literally robbing the rich to give tax cuts to the wealthy and corporations, then you guys can't wait to sign huge 1,000+ page bills. Please, I can't even believe these people are real.
Changes to implement single subject bills. Pretty common sense, right? Wouldn't that be nice if we had single subject bills even right now so we could implement the Doge cuts? Kind of seems like something America wants. I know Arizona wants to see those Doge cuts codified.
I was updating that. Bushmaster, I would debate you, but you don't debate. Like, I see you requesting, it's nice to see you, but you never say anything. You have no idea what you're talking about. But if you ever have facts and actual numbers and you want to talk, Bushmaster, if you're just up here to defend your girlfriend, Lauren, then it's not necessary. She's guilty. She's guilty of all the things I just accused her of. But don't worry, I'm sure God is working through her when she's given those Andrew Jacksons. I'm sure. It's what do they call that? There was this cult I watched a documentary about called it's like a really scary cult. It's called like the Family. They're all over the world. They're like in South America. When I was in South America, they're still in South America. I ran into some of these people in South America, and they do something like one of their weird cult beliefs because it's kind of based in Christianity. It's called like flirty fishing. Oh no, the Children of God. Yeah, I got it wrong. I sorry, different cult. The Family's a different cult. It is Children of God. Thank you. See, I don't even need to remember anything. Someone will just correct me. It's the Children of God. Yeah, and they have something called like flirty fishing where like all the women were like weirdly attractive. Bobo should be in the Children of God cult. I mean, nobody should be. Horrific abuses. Horrific. I think there's a documentary on Prime about it. But yeah, that's where Lauren Boebert's skills might come in handy. Because like in their like doctrine, like women should use their looks, to recruit people or to get like resources, quote unquote, for God. Whatever. I think she would really do a great job there. Oh, and then here, you guys know I've watched every Trump rally since the inception of them. The first one was definitely not in Arizona. Now, I will give Charlie Kirk a lot of credit for what he's done in Arizona. He lives in Phoenix. Turning Point USA is a force to be reckoned with. He has America Fest there every December. He's done a lot of things. The first Trump rally was not in Arizona, and then Charlie Kirk is turning out to be just like Trump. Like he's now just like makes up weird stories.
Arizona is where all the fun, the drama, the ups and the downs happen. The first ever Trump rally happened in Phoenix, Arizona. President Donald Trump came up on stage. There was no such thing as a MAGA rally. He just came up on stage and started talking. All of a sudden, they realized they needed a bigger ballroom. It was at the Phoenix Convention Center. Who was there? Who was at that MAGA rally? So when President Trump was here at the first ever MAGA rally, he set forth a vision. 10 years ago, everybody, we are coming on the 10-year anniversary of President Donald Trump with the first ever MAGA rally. And he put forward a vision.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Great point. Who said that? Andy at Waterlake. Yeah. They still have Trump rallies. They still owe money to like the city. Is it Mesa? Or it might be Scottsdale. They owe money to a couple cities. It just doesn't pay bills. Yeah. It's really hard to have MAGA rallies in Arizona. Well, I've showed you guys two things happen. Number one, Trump doesn't pay for the MAGA rallies or pay the contractors that help him with the MAGA rallies. So then people just mayors of cities don't want him back. And then number two, the problem is he lets everyone pass out from heat stroke. He leaves everyone waiting in like 120 degrees for hours. I think last time there was like 16 people that had to be carted to the hospital. Like he could have it indoors. Actually, it might be good for the people of Arizona. Like I'm talking about the MAGAs, because now that Trump's afraid of being unalived and is scared of outdoor rallies, maybe he'll get you guys some air conditioning. Maybe he'll just move it inside and won't turn on the air for you all, though. We don't know. But and I just want to say, when Andy Biggs came out, because I'm not going to help him campaign, nobody should vote for, we don't need any Republicans in Arizona. The Republicans control the state legislature, like the Maricopa, Maricopa, pretty much everything in Maricopa County, on the county level, the state level. They don't need any more power in Arizona. We certainly do not need this weirdo sitting in the governor's mansion that doesn't exist. And I think this is pretty much the most disqualifying statement he made.
Lauren Boebert from Colorado. Stalwart conservative voice, been with me and some of these others in every conservative fight we've had in Congress. And she's done it fearlessly.
Lauren Boebert doesn't know, like in the Oversight and Accountability Committee, like what they're talking about during congressional hearings at times. So whatever. If you want to die on that hill, go ahead. I'm sure that Beetlejuice guy thought the same thing when he went on a date with her. Okay. Yeah. So again, I don't know what we're going to do, but we need to get everyone together who's in Phoenix and figure out a way to keep Andy Biggs from being governor. I think that should be our focus. The guy who, I'll say this, when I worked, and by worked, I mean was not paid, and I'm saying this, oh, by the way, if you didn't see the live Matt and Dr. Danny and I did yesterday together, it has to be one of the funniest lives of all time. It's on my YouTube. 10 of 10 recommend you watch the live USMC Angry Veteran. Dr. Danny, Mr. Global was in the chat. Steve, Facts So Matter was in the chat. It has to be one of the weirdest experiences of my life. Such a wide range of top. It was like, we went from like screaming at people, he's screaming at Matt that he's like hawking power washers, to then like sex ed for adults. There were so many things going on in that live. I mean, truly, it was something amazing. So again, 10 of 10 recommend you watch that. The reason I kind of mentioned this a little, I can't remember what her name is, some weirdo who no one really knows, wants to turn Pride Month into Family Month or some. But Walter Masterson made this amazing video, which I think is a great point, which I need to show you. I think it's more relevant if I zoom in on this really quick. He said, MAGA, entire identity, also MAGA. Walter Masterson is a satirical genius, but also like he's always just following basic lines of logic. I think that's why his comedy is so funny, because it's like sometimes the most simple lines of logic are the most effective. So basically all of these, he's going around to MAGA people like, they keep forcing those rainbow flags on everyone, and they're like, yeah, like while holding up their creepy MAGA flags.
I'm happy right now because I haven't seen near as many rainbow flags and rubbish as we've seen last year.
They're making the kids wear these flags and these hats. Yes. Right? And it's like, don't make the kids wear these flags and these hats and make it their entire personality.
No. Absolutely.
They make it their whole identity. They've got the shirts, they've got the flags, they got the hats, they got the shirts. It's like it's their whole personality. You got these people with these flags, they're waving it in our faces.
Right. I don't care if you're gay.
Just don't wave this flag in my face. These flags everywhere that they wave around in everyone's face. It's become their entire personality.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have these people with their flags and their hats that they wave around in everyone's faces, and it's become their entire personality.
I live in a place where everybody is gay. I hope you could say that.
You can't say gay, it's Florida.
Oh. No, that's only at Disney.
You should have seen how it looked, me trying to just get on a flight to get down here with a MAGA hat on. They treated me like I was Osama bin Laden.
It's become harder to be open about your identity nowadays. Right?
Yeah, people just need to speak up. They need to say what they believe. I'm a straight male as well.
You're a straight white male,
and I'm proud of that.
Just on a Saturday or Sunday, I got nothing to do. I put my flags out and I ride through town to remind everybody.
Can you imagine like going someplace and being attacked just for your identity?
That's crazy.
I'm happy.
It's crazy. Yeah, I could watch that over. It's so, God, who does that? So weird. Such a strange thing to do. Who makes flags and hats and creepy, all from China, their identity, while then condemning China for manufacturing the things they won't stop buying? I could carry that line of logic into like a global economic argument. Like MAGA's hypocrisy quite literally knows no end. Oh, we don't need to watch this right now. I'll probably play that tomorrow because it's not really on the line of logic. Oh, and here's another thing super important to know. It's finally here. Mike, the pillow enthusiast defamation trial has started in New York, and he is out of his effing mind, which I find hilarious. Oh, I need to see if I can find one more. I saw a quote, and I don't think I screenshotted it, but this is Mike Lindell outside his defamation trial, where, by the way, his lawyer's defense is basically like, Mike says words and no one should listen to those words, and words don't have any meaning. I believe it's the exact defense. Like, they have no defense because there really isn't one. Oh, hold on. This is King Trump. This is just your one warning. This is a gathering of people whose brains work. So I'm telling you right now, I'm just going to block you. Like, this live, what I'm doing here. Sometimes I debate people whose brains don't work. This isn't that. The People's Receipts is where people who can do basic math and follow basic lines of logic, we get together and mock you all. We get together and mock you all for not being able to read or do math. And then we kind of discuss, like, what are we going to do with all of their dead body weight we have to drag behind us while we try not to drown because we keep getting robbed by corporations and billionaires. So that's what's going on here. Now, I'm not saying you have to leave. You just can't say dumb things in the comments. That's what I'm saying. If you distract the people whose brains work, then I just have to block you. But if you just listen quietly, you might learn something. But this is not time for idiots to scream out, I'm an idiot. We already know. We got it.
But it was also my evidence. So when I come in, I needed that evidence. When you delete evidence, it's like throwing a gun in a river. That's called spoliation in any court case. They threw away my evidence. You think I wasn't upset about that too? But no, I wasn't worried about some court case down the road. I was worried about, I can't believe the cover-up, that they're covering up our elections, starting here in Colorado.
Remember, I was talking about that. Remember the lady that's going to jail for 7 years and said she can't go to jail because she needs a magnetic mattress? And because she helped someone break into state offices and steal a bunch of data. I don't know, when he's saying they got rid of my evidence. Here's some things I remember. Remember when Mike had that cyber symposium where he swore finally the evidence is here that the 2020 election was stolen? And he gave all of these quote unquote cybersecurity experts like this huge set of data and was like, if anyone can disprove that this does not prove, or I'm trying to make sure I say this the right way. He said, if anyone can prove this does not show the 2020 election was stolen, I'll give you $5 million. And then there were actual engineers and data analysts there. And this guy is a Trump supporter, not him. The guy that disproved his data set is voted for Trump. He's MAGA. But he's like, where's my $5 billion? This is not what you said it was, and proved it legally. And then Mike Lindell, of course, because he's probably living in a van down by the river at this point, because he gave all of his money to Trump in the 2016 election and got grifted, and he couldn't pay the guy. So the guy sued him. So now Mike has No, this is a different lawsuit. That lawsuit's already over. Mike has a $5 million judgment against him for that. No, this is defamation. This is about his lies against the voting machine companies. So, I mean, this is an open and shut case. Like, Fox News already lost. Like, there's no defense for this. Like, his lawyers are like, Mike Lindell says a bunch of BS. Like, nobody should be taking him seriously. That is literally the defense. Like, he's a crazy person muttering in coherently, don't listen to him. That's what his lawyers are doing for him. So I'm just pointing out, though, like, it's not even leftists that are after Mike Lindell. It was a MAGA supporter that proved he was lying the last time. But, I did screenshot a little something. Here, amazing that when they get in courtrooms, all the big claims they make outside the courthouse to the media suddenly go away. So Kyle Clark is sitting inside the courtroom. Some journalists can. Attorneys for MyPillow guy Mike Lindell said in opening statements at his defamation trial in Denver that they won't present evidence of his claim that the 2020 election was rigged. I'm shocked. It's just words. All Mike Lindell did was talk, said Lindell's attorney. So just to be clear, MAGA, they're not presenting evidence because there isn't any. I just want to remind everyone, the 2020 election, Trump was president. They investigated it, not just the federal Department of Justice, and found no outcomes, determinative fraud. They hired two separate outside consulting agencies, like big time security firms, And those two firms also found no outcome determinative fraud. I've read every court document around this case. I mean, including the defamation trial of Carrie Lake in Arizona, which was so boring and pointless. Yeah, just the math doesn't exist. Oh, but speaking of, and I'm quoting a Supreme Court justice. I think they call them justices in New York, not judges. I'm quoting a Supreme Court justice in New York. Oh, I should actually show you guys something. I forgot about this. I guess this is, there is, quote, according to a New York Supreme Court justice. Has anyone heard about this? There is a voting fraud case that has legs, but I don't think MAGA is going to like it too much. Has anyone heard about this? And I just want to say, I think I don't, especially after, yes, Rockland, New York, after I was going to talk about this tomorrow because I have so many things to get to, but I think, oh yeah, I do have it. Okay, hold on. Let me email it or text it to myself really quick and we can watch it because I don't want to spend too much time on this. And it's because what I want us to focus our energy on are things like we can control, right? So and especially after the election when all those blue and on people were like, this election was stolen. And I was like, we can't focus on this right now, So I think we should all focus our energy on things we can actually change. But I did look into this and yeah, it is the data that's being presented in court is valid. So, and this is not the first video I saw someone make on this. This is not that video. So this is a different one that's longer. So hopefully but I've seen this guy make videos before and they're usually pretty good. So hold on. I finally got this iPad to work on X. Okay. And his name, I don't know if anyone's ever seen it. It's Adiv, ADIV Unsolicited, if anyone wants to follow him. I've only seen a couple of his videos because, again, these are accounts that repost TikTok creator, kind of just download the videos and then repost them on X. So, again, it's not his X account. Okay. But I do think it's important. So Mike Lindell has no actual proof of outcome determinative fraud, but apparently a New York Supreme Court justice is like, this case has legs.
Were the results of the 2024 presidential election valid, or was it rigged? Rockland County in New York seems to think so. Do you guys remember when President Trump said this?
Very effective. And he knows those computers better than anybody, all those computers, those vote counting computers. And we ended up winning Pennsylvania in a landslide, so it was pretty good. It was pretty good. So thank you to Elon.
Rockland County, which is where my mother lives, is a county within the New York Metro, has filed a lawsuit to recount the votes of all of the citizens in Rockland County of the 2024 election cycle. Questioning the accuracy of the 2024 presidential and Senate election results in Rockland County, New York, a lawsuit brought by Smart Legislation seeks a full hand recount of the presidential and U.S. Senate races in Rockland County. Smart Legislation is the action arm of Smart Elections, which is the lead plaintiff in the case. Both organizations are dedicated to ensuring fair and accurate elections. Smart Election was quoted by saying, "There's clear evidence that the Senate results are incorrect, and there are statistical indications that the presidential results are highly unlikely. If the results are incorrect, it is a violation of constitutional rights of each person who voted in the 2024 Rockland County general election. The best way to determine whether this is legit is to recount the ballots in a full public hand recount." This feels like Defiance, Ohio with scandal.
Goosebumps. Goosebumps.
As stated in the complaint, more voters have sworn they voted for independent U.S. Senate candidate Diane Sarr than the Rockland Board of Elections counted and certified. Additionally, the presidential election results exhibit numerous statistical anomalies. The anomalies in the presidential race include multiple districts where hundreds of voters chose Democratic candidate Kristen Gillibrand for Senate, but there were 0 voters for Democratic presidential candidate Kamala Harris. A statistician determined that the 2024 presidential election results were statistically highly unlikely in 4 or 5 towns in Rockland County when compared with the 2020 results. Discovery would give both the court and public a window into what issues Rockland County are contributing to the irregularities in the election results. Plaintiffs anticipate some depositions as well because the source of the discrepancies is unknown. a court-ordered recount could alter election results or reveal issues in other races.
Wow, the pressure is getting worse.
I keep asking every day what else can happen, but I just don't know. It's like we're living in a Shonda Rhimes written soap opera. I don't
know why he's saying that. Shonda Rhimes is the creator of Scandal.
Who asked my mom I know who my mom voted for, but I feel like I got some insider scoop here. Like, do you feel like people, voted for somebody that didn't get voted in? Because
saying what can be done if this is true, then there would be hand recounts, not just in Rockland County, but in the state of New York. Like, I was reading, and you can look up Rockland County and just look up this general subject, and articles will come up like these, and you can find the court documents on this. Like, there's a specific I think it's like a district or something where like Gillibrand got like 75 votes and Kamala Harris got none. Like, you guys know how much I like statistical analysis. This is all the only reason I'm playing this is because I looked into all this, and it is all highly unlikely. Like, the chances of this mathematically happening are almost zero. And that's why a New York Supreme Court justice is like, this has legs, because it is. I meing, the math is mathing. Mike Lindell's just a crazy person who just is making up lies and can't find his way out of a paper bag. This is mathematically correct. I mean, there's many problems. I once showed you that statistical argument for just voter suppression, just MAGA challenging the voter rolls in swing states. That could have flipped to the outcome of the election. Voter suppression could have. So yeah, I don't know, but I also find it interesting, right? If any of this is true or is found out to be true, I just want to be clear. This could be on a county level or a district level or a state level, or it could be bigger than that. That's why nobody knows. The math is mathing, but nobody knows for sure what's going on. So it would just lead to hand recounts on the district levels, on the county levels, and maybe at some point on the state levels. And if that comes out and the math is mathing, it could lead to a lot more recounts in other states. More people could sue based on this data set and get more recounts. So yeah, I mean, New York is not technically a swing state or anything, but yeah, that's where this is going. But again, the courts can figure this out, and then we can just report on it. And again, this is Rockland County, New York, if anyone wants to look up more. I just thought because Mike Lindell is about to be buried for making up a bunch of lies about the 2020 election, the math is mathing in this Rockland County case. So it is interesting. Oh, sorry, this isn't my presentation. I got to go back. I was going to show this to you guys tomorrow. I love that so many men want to talk to me. Bushmaster, go back to work before a car falls on you. You need to focus. The auto shop, there's many dangerous things that could happen to you. I'm worried about you. It's because I care that I want you to focus on your job. Wait, is this my presentation? Yeah. Okay. I was going to talk about that tomorrow, but yeah, as if more information when it comes out, I'll let you guys know about that. I just don't think we can't control any of that. That's why I just didn't want to. Oh no, hold on. What? Hold on. God, sorry, TikTok Studio is doing it. I knew I was not going to make it. I was like, things are going too well. Hold on one second. TikTok, I gotta move this. You're like, what are you looking at? TikTok Studio moved the whole thing to another screen. Well, okay. I think it's okay. So hopefully Matt just stopped using TikTok Studio for his lives. Hopefully we'll be okay, because this is the only way I can show all these things. Oh, I did take a screenshot of it. Okay, I didn't think I took a screenshot of this quote. This is about Dominion. There's Smartmatic voting machines, and then there's Dominion. So this is Dominion suing Mike Lindell in the state of Colorado. The trial for Dominion's defamation lawsuit against Pillow Man Mike Lindell started today. Lindell to Rolling Stone. Lindell finally is relevant again. He's loving it. Quote, "Of course I'm going to testify at my own trial." Oh my God. His lawyers are... Do you understand why? I just want you to give you an idea of why Mike Lindell would be allowed to testify at his own trial. It's because his lawyers know he's so crazy that it might sway the judge. The judge might be like, oh yeah, this guy's nuts. Like, he can't be held accountable for anything he's saying. I mean, that's my actual guess as to why. You want to tell me something, Hassan? Is it cogent? Is it backed by data? Or is it your feelings? What is it? Yeah, you can just say it now. Like, I have things to do. Of course I'm going to testify at my own trial. I have nothing to hide. I don't think he understands what a defamation trial is. Of course you have nothing to hide. You're already guilty. I'm a former crack addict. This is his quote. "I've always been open to that. I've always been open about everything." Do you see why his lawyers want him to scream this? "I've always been transparent about everything. I'm as transparent as they come. So I have nothing to hide at this trial." Lindell also claimed that he is broke, so they can't get any money from him. Yeah, because Trump took all his money. I'm telling you, and I know we shouldn't have sympathy for Mike Lindell, but this guy was a former crack addict, and he created My Pillow. Do you guys know My Pillow is well, I mean, it's worth nothing now. It was a co-op. It was a socialist company where workers in Minnesota actually had like equity in the company. They weren't just working and handing the surplus. Yes, Mike Lindell was running a co-op, a real socialist company where the workers had equity. He destroyed it all for Trump. And it just makes me so sad. Like, because I've told you, my mother was born in Minnesota. There's good people in Minnesota who are working at that company, who are just good people doing a good thing. And it's all gone because he just got into this Trump stuff and couldn't let it go. Yeah, it's sad. I feel less bad for Mike Lindell. I feel bad for the workers of that company. Yeah, My Pillow guy was running a socialist corporation where the workers had equity, and it's all gone now. There's nothing left. Hassan, you gotta stop spamming the chat. And I'm pretty sure we can, yeah. I've seen people get violations for this stuff, and I'm sorry, but I don't think I can get a violation for it. Outside of the courthouse, Lindell was asking next. Oh yeah, here we go. Did I play this? Oh no, I didn't play this. I couldn't find this clip, and I looked for it. So outside of the courthouse, when they were like Mike Lindell was having his weird moment, this is a quote from him. Mike Lindell was asked who masterminded the alleged theft of the 2020 election for Trump. Quote, "Who's behind it? All Satan. This is a nation that's turned its back on God." He then claimed that he is being railroaded because the state of Colorado deleted all the evidence that he did. Satan, you guys, Satan's out to get Trump. Oh, and I love this. I can't even remember. I'm trying to remember. I think this isn't Wired. What? Talking about Jake Tapper made that book, and now nobody should ever watch or listen to him again. He basically is trying to make money off saying Biden's incompetent. Well, his ratings have dropped by 18%. So have Anderson Cooper's, and so have Caitlin Collins. All because he needed to make up a bunch of stories and try to go on a book tour about it. And I do find that hilarious. Yeah, well, CNN in general should be out. I'm tired of for-profit media in general. Oopsies, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. I didn't mean to make you guys see that. What did I just mute? I pushed somebody. Probably affect us later. We'll figure it out. But yeah, I'm so tired of for-profit media. You know, the CNN is owned by a bigger company, but the CEO of CNN is awful. He's like a Trump supporter and capitalist. What is that? That's not my computer. What is happening right now? Hold on a second. Okay, there. That's TikTok Studios losing its mind. There we go. Okay, we're good. I always talk about how much I like Glenn Kirshner, and I could read you guys a boring article about this, or I could let Glenn Kirshner tell you. So these law firms, the like Skadden and Vice and all these law firms that sold out to Trump and offered him the millions of dollars in free legal services. I know Glenn Kirshner is the best. Glenn Kirshner is like he's a former DOJ lawyer. He does a really good legal podcast with Brian Tyler Cohen. If you're looking for information about legal information, 10 of 10 recommend that podcast. I can't remember what it's called though, but I do subscribe, or not subscribe, but I do watch it. So those law firms that sold out were like, oh, we'll give millions and millions of free legal services to Trump, while all these businesses are leaving them. They're effed. Like even McDonald's. Like I can't remember. I didn't screenshot the article, but I was looking at a list of, huge corporations are basically like, bye, you've sold out. We don't give a shit about you anymore. So at least there is some punishment, free market capitalism, MAGA. That's the way it goes.
Bent a knee to Donald Trump remember those law firms that bent a knee to Donald Trump when he unlawfully threatened them? Instead of standing up to the tyrant, the dictator, the bully, they laid down. They gave up. That has the effect of condoning Trump's lawlessness, and their clients have taken note. And they have announced, many of them, loud and clear, you side with the bully, the dictator, the tyrant? Well then, we're out. We'll find ourselves law firms and lawyers who understand the importance of standing up to a tyrant, who understand the importance of lawfulness and constitutionality, because only law firms that are willing to fight for themselves will ever be up to the task of fighting for their clients.
Amen. That's a great point. Thank you, Glenn. And I've talked about Perkins Coie. My brother is a big time corporate lawyer, makes a lot of money, but he started at Perkins Coie. Mark Elias started at Perkins Coie. That's the that's the law firm that, did a bunch of pro bono work during the Russia case to prove ties. Thank you. I love those glasses. Between the Trump campaign and Russia, which nobody who can read at this point denies. That's why I say Trump, and it's been confirmed by his own people he can't read, or refuses to read. It's one or the other. There's also a bipartisan 1,000-page Senate Judiciary report that you can read, MAGA. I know you can't, but if you're still confused on it, you could copy and paste it and have AI read it to you if you can't. And there's CIA reports. There's all sorts of reports confirming that. Trump is this morning. Trump's having a very bad day, and he's gone kind of quiet. He's talking again this morning, but he hadn't been posting that much because, ever since this battle with Space Karen started, he doesn't know what to say. Trump is again, because this is what Trump does, right? Trump has no idea how the economy works. He's just a grifter who's in it for himself, and he's like busy taking and stealing and grifting. And then he looks up and he's like, shit, I'm running the economy into the ground, and I haven't even been in office 200 days. And then he starts screaming at someone else for a bailout, right? Just like he did with the casinos. Daddy, bail me out. I bankrupted casinos, which is almost mathematically effing impossible to do. That's what he's doing now, screaming at Jerome Powell. This morning, private sector hiring rose by just 37,000 jobs in May, the lowest in more than 2 years. ADP says, this is you, MAGA. This is your guy failing. And instead of taking responsibility and being like, hey, these tariffs, people are frozen in place without consistent Trade policy, no corporations know if they can hire people. They don't know what's going to go on. They don't know if they're going out of business. They don't know if they can move stuff across the ocean in container ships. No, but people are paralyzed by uncertainty while Trump is driving the markets down. Cool. Thank you, Miller. I love that Corky's playing baseball. Now that should be a show. And instead of just being like, man, I should probably stop grifting. Because, by the way, he's done it 5 or 6 times now. Drove the markets down with the threat of these tariff policies, right? Trump always chickens out and then backed off so that he can invest, buy low, sell high. I mean, I know market manipulation when I witnessed it. You did it 6 times. Is that not enough? Did you and your billionaire friends with excess capital to invest, you didn't grift enough money yet? You didn't go big enough? You need to keep going? You would think that would be enough. I mean, he has his meme coin grift and people bribing him that way, and he can't just stop. Like, it's the selfishness of this man. This is him this morning. ADP number out. Too late, Powell. He means the guy he appointed as chairman of the Fed, Jerome Powell, won't lower interest rates. By the way, it has nothing to do with that. Has nothing to do with that. And I just want everyone to remember the difference, because in Trump world, the pandemic never happened, right? Biden recovered from the pandemic the best in the G7, got lowered interest rates. I know because I understand the economy and I understand how to find math statistics that this is ballistic podiatry, right? The economy's not down because of a pandemic or because of some uncontrollable event, a war that started that broke up a supply chain. Trump did this all so he could grift and try to clamp down on authoritarian control and blackmail businesses, law firms, politicians, leaders of other countries, all sorts of things. That's what Trump has decided to do. And now he's trying to blame other people. But just so you know, in December, when Biden was in office, they were going to raise interest rates 3 more times. 3 more times. If Trump did nothing, touched nothing, just sat there and took credit for all Biden's work, there would have been 3 interest rate. Oh, did I say raise? I meant cut. Sorry. If I said raise, I meant cut. I might have said it the opposite. I meant cut, right? There was going to be 3, and I'm just going to call what I think would have happened, 1/4 point interest rate cuts. But the Fed, look it up. They talked about it in November. We're anticipating 3 more cuts this year. And because Trump had to do all this pointless now he's trying to blame it on other people. If we lower interest rates now, we will go into a recession faster. And just so you're wondering, like, what's the point of lowering interest rates? He wants money to be cheaper to borrow, right? Like, not a good idea. I like Jay and Kiev. If you don't follow him, he's a good account to follow. Daddy Putin, now the Fed saving Trump. I mean, I don't think Jerome Powell's going to save him because it would drive the economy into ruin. But it's true. This is a little baby who's used to being bailed out, and he has no idea what to do now. Like, think about it. He always used to have Europe to bail him out. The United States used to have some power on the world stage. Trump has made us a laughing stock. We didn't even know that Ukraine was going to attack Russia. And now he's like, I'm a baby. I need help. You are a baby that should never have been put in charge of anything, especially if it requires reading or math. Oh, thank you for the $10. No fear. That's a cool Cash App name. For always staying vigilant and educated. That's so nice. Thank you. And Johnny, thank you for the super chat or the super sticker. Don't thank me, Johnny. Thank you. Okay. Oh, I did. These are just screenshots of comments I took underneath that post. Trump and his MAGA cult are a sinking ship, and now he's begging Powell to throw him a life raft. Pathetic. His tariffs tanked the economy, private sector hiring's at a 2-year low, and he's still clueless. He's done. He's bankrupted his casinos, ballooned the national debt by 39% in his first term. Nobody has ever ballooned the debt in modern history since let's say the last 100 years, because the federal government used to have much different roles. And now he's trying to drag us all down with him. Europe's laughing with their 9 rate cuts. That's what happens when you have consistent policy. You have 9 rate cuts. We're stuck with this mess. Amen. Oh, so if you're missing this, because this is kind of like the theme of today's show, Rand Paul, senator from Kentucky, who I disagree with on many effing things. He's a kind of a pretend libertarian. He's a libertarian when convenient for him, but he's pretty much the only person in the Senate who can do math and isn't scared of Trump at this point. So I'm not going to actually, I'm trying to think of how many, if I want to play all this. I mean, he's been saying these things, right? That this is Trump, the big, beautiful bill will blow out the deficit. It's the largest widening of the deficit in one bill in U.S. history. It's worse than what he did with the debt in his first term. Trump's getting really mad, but I'm not going to play. That's a 9-minute clip. But I'll play some of this one, because this is Trump's favorite show. If you don't know that, Trump watches like C-SPAN, Fox Business, this show too, CNBC. So Trump's watching these shows yesterday morning. Rand Paul's on them, just running over Trump with basic math and saying that Trump is driving the economy into the ground. And all of a sudden, Trump flips out and attacks Rand Paul yesterday. But we can listen to a few minutes of this.
Post, Trump said there's a false narrative about spending in this bill. He said it is, quote, single biggest spending cut in history by far. Kentucky Senator Rand Paul joins me now. Mr. Senator, I know you want more spending cuts included in the bill. Can you tell us what specifically you'd want to cut?
Yeah, it's even more than that. The biggest objection I have to the bill is adding $5 trillion to the debt ceiling. I'm actually very supportive of the tax cuts. I don't accept the CBO notion that the tax cuts will lead to deficits. The reason I believe there'll be more deficits is they're raising the debt ceiling $5 trillion. We know that this year, most of the Republicans, not me, voted to continue the Biden spending levels in March. So we're going to go through September of this year, and the deficit for this year is going to be over $2 trillion. If you're borrowing $5 trillion, that makes me think you're going to add over $2 trillion, maybe $2.8 trillion next year. So it doesn't show me that you've turned around. If you look at the spending cuts, it's complicated because it's $1.5 trillion. It sounds like this enormous number, but it's over 10 years, so it's $150 billion a year. They're also increasing spending for the military and for the border, $300 billion. That's actually more than all the DOGE cuts that we've found so far. So something doesn't really add up here, and I can't be on record as being one who supports increasing the debt by $5 trillion. I think that's irresponsible. The bond markets are already starting to show that they're skittish over this. We got interest rates of over 5% on the 10-year bond. There are real problems we face as a country.
This is what I was showing you guys, and I was showing screenshots of MAGA's like, look at that graph up and to the right. MAGA, you don't know what the 10-year interest, like treasury yield is? Up is bad, right? Up is your mortgage rates going up. When the House voted to pass this bill, or was about to vote to pass this bill, we tried to package and sell off our debt. And guess what happened? They didn't want it. The people that usually buy up U.S. debt because they trust us weren't buying it. That's why our mortgage rates are going up. That's why auto loans are going up. Now, this isn't going to affect the rich as much, but it's going to affect us. Like, up is bad when we talk about the 10-year yield.
We can't just blithely go on the way we have in the past.
Would you offer any kind of compromise? You don't want to raise the debt ceiling by $5 trillion. Would you okay it for an extra $2 trillion or $3 trillion? I mean, would you compromise?
I have offered a compromise, and the compromise I offered was in the form of an amendment recently, and I'd give them 3 months. And everybody says, oh, it's not long enough. Well, the whole purpose is to make them come back in 3 months and say, what have you done for the spending? Show me where you've cut spending. Because in 3 months' time, we'll be rolling up on the deadline, and they'll be presenting more spending again. So in 3 months, and 3 months is a lot of money, Stuart. It's $500 billion for 3 months. I'd do it for 3 months. I wouldn't default. I'd do it for 3 months, and I'd say, show me now what you have done. Because the history of this town is people making false promises. In fact, everybody in leadership on the Republican side is saying, oh, wait till after the 26 elections. We just need one more election. You remember when they said that about Obamacare? Elect us and we'll get rid of Obamacare. And they flailed away and never did it. It's the same way with spending cuts. They say wait till 2026 or 2027.
Yeah, and understand all these Republicans that are saying, oh, we need more cuts, which again, I think that this is ridiculous. The math doesn't math. He's right. We can't carry this much debt. Our debt is going to be the biggest line item in our budget. It's scary. Like, we're not going to be able to refinance our own debt soon. So, but again, there's easy solutions to that, which is taxing the rich, right? Taxing corporations, making people pay their fair shares. We should not be cutting healthcare. We should not be stealing healthcare from 13.7 million Americans. And again, even with all the cuts, understand it's still blowing out the deficit. We are robbing the poor to give the rich and corporations tax cuts. I do think the middle class tax cuts are fine. Those are fine. What's not fine, which was why Biden and Kamala's budget was good, right? It had the tax cuts for like up to, just under, I think like $300,000 a year. But people who are making exorbitant amounts of money, you don't need tax cuts. I'm sorry. Or that's what progressive above a certain amount, I should say, right? They're progressive tax cuts. So above a certain amount, no, you don't get tax cuts. These SALT deductions that the stupid moderates, both moderate Democrats and moderate Republicans were fighting for. So extremely rich people can offset their state taxes with their federal taxes. All of these things are ridiculous. And as long as capital gains tax is taxed lower than our income, middle class and lower class income, then transfers of wealth will continue to happen to the top of the economy. That's the bottom line. But because Rand Paul went out and did these shows, Trump lost his effing mind, got super mad, and then he hadn't really been posting and then posted this. Rand votes no on everything, but never has any practical or constructive ideas. Well, that's not true. His ideas are actually crazy. Some of them are. That's the problem with people on the fringe. Like, the people of Kentucky can't stand him. Is that why they reelect him and Mitch McConnell over and over? I think it's the opposite. Same with Thomas Massie. That's why they can stand up to you. The same way the people of Kentucky keep electing a Democratic governor. Kentucky does what Kentucky wants. And that's the truth. Like, it's the reason so many people in the state of Kentucky just flip their finger at Trump. They don't care what he says. They are safe. The people of Kentucky will elect whoever they want. It's why they have a blue governor, red senators. I mean, there's no rhyme or reason. Rand Paul has very little understanding, especially the tremendous growth that is coming of the big, beautiful bill, especially the tremendous growth that is coming. I was like, the Better Business Bureau. For a second, I was like, what the F is he talking? I was like, is he talking about the Better Business Bureau of the big, beautiful bill, especially the tremendous growth that is coming? Can I just say something? We have, and I will preach this till the end of time. Time has run out on the lies from Republicans. We have For MAGA, I'm going to say that, and I think you can understand, we have 45 years of trailing data. If I'm not right, then bring data and tell me I'm not right. Prove me wrong, except for I know I'm right. We have 45 years of trailing data. Cutting taxes for corporations and for the wealthy does not trickle shit down. It only keeps wealth at the top of the economy. There's no trickle down, period. Stop saying this is going to, and Trump saying, oh, there's going to be economic growth. There's going to be economic growth. And I was reading it. One of the things they keep lying about, which is driving me nuts. I was watching, I think I'm pretty sure I screen recorded this. And so you can see it in person, but I'll just say it now. They're saying that the CBO estimates of the TCJA were off. They weren't. It's because of the unpredictable pandemic, right? There was booming, I'm sweaty. There was booming economic growth created by Biden following the pandemic, right? I mean, which had nothing to do with Trump. The estimates weren't off. You just can't predict an economy stopping and starting again, right? That's what it is. So, which I'm pretty sure I've got that. I have that data somewhere. But again, so this is yesterday morning, Trump attacks Rand Paul. And I was like, oh, this is going to be interesting. Because keep in mind, tomorrow, what we're going to be doing, it's going to be my favorite days is I'm going to clip all of Congress. They've started debating this bill in the Senate, and it is crazy. Like I only got to watch a couple hours. Crazy town is happening. So tomorrow we're gonna pretty much be on Capitol Hill listening to our Congress people debate this bill. And none of us really expected the Elon Musk factor, right? Like, this is what happened. And this is just, I don't know, if you believe the Daily Mail reports and the Capitol Hill blogs, which less inclined to believe the Daily Mail, but you guys know how I feel about Capitol Hill blogs. These are like staffers of Republican Congress people. Like, I love Capitol Hill gossip. And according to Capitol Hill gossip, that black eye of space Karens came from a 62-year-old economist. And, they got in a huge fight because, again, Space Karen is a liar too, right? And I want to be very clear. Space Karen stole a bunch of data from all of us, right? That he's going to use to try to control us all. Like, the Doge cuts aren't real either. So I do want to be very clear about that. But the strategy of saying, hey, nobody of the Democrats in Congress that I'm going to show you today, of them saying, hey, you guys don't believe us? Well, we agree with Space Karen. This bill is ridiculous. It's like, it's creating a huge divide amongst Republicans, and I guess they don't know who to believe. You can just believe math. The bill is bad, right? Space Karen's right about that, but what he did with those was also bad. He is costing us more than he saved. And let me just put it this way. Like, let me give you another example of how Elon Musk is a fraud. $67 billion of cuts are like from HHS, but as I've told you, we should never cut medical research. The one thing as taxpayers we should invest in is medical research, because we are really good at that. We get a $2.53 return. We should invest in all medical research. Even if you don't understand, I get it, MAGA. You're like, why are we studying bat semen? You don't get it, because then we create medicine and different things that make us a lot of money. So just acknowledge you don't understand medical research, but $67 billion in cuts is actually stopping us from creating ROI from our tax dollars. It's idiotic. Oh, I like this. This is Stephen Miller replying to Rand Paul after Trump attacked Rand Paul. He's like, the score Rand is citing is the size of the tax cut. The bill slashes spending almost $2 trillion. No, it doesn't. Imagine saying 2 trillion when it's 1.5, right? And that's over 10 years. It's 150 billion a year. And they're trying to not just right now, when it left the House, they're spending an extra 300 billion on defense. All of the waste is in defense, but whose money comes from defense contracts? Space Karen. We already funded And just in case anyone's clear, we already funded the defense. We do that in December. It's called the National Defense Authorization Act. And we increased that. And now they're trying to increase it more. That was out of the House. The Senate, the senators make way more money off the military than the House, right? And they want more. Never forget that Space Karen gets $8 million a day. He's the biggest welfare queen in existence in America. You're the richest man in the world who purports to believe in free market capitalism. You don't need our tax dollars to crash rockets. You're wasting our money. Anywho, but so I just needed to say that because I feel like people are it's going to sound like Space Karen's a hero, which he is not. Space Karen's not a hero, but let's do what is the saying? My enemy of my enemy is my friend. Today, Space Karen could be the enemy of our enemy and possibly our friend. So this is what Space Karen posts yesterday. I'm sorry, but I just can't stand it anymore. This massive, outrageous, pork-filled congressional spending bill is a disgusting abomination. Shame on those who voted for it. You know you did wrong. You know it. I mean, Elon Musk's posts so fast, and it's so hard to find his post. Oh, and I did find this. Cenk, from like the Young Turks, Cenk, this is a good point, but he annoys me too with his weird hypocrisy. I thought you were a socialist. There's no 4 trillion or 5 trillion to cut out of spending, not even close. Well, yeah, that's true. And there's certainly not that much if you add to the most bloated part of the budget, the Pentagon. Absolutely. The only place they never cut was where all the bloat is. We're paying $175,000 for soap dispensers. You said you were going to cut defense and you added instead. The real answer is to stop the trillions in tax cuts. That's true. That's a true statement. Cenk annoys me for other reasons, but the math is mathing, and that's true. So again, Space Karen replies to his own post and says, it will massively increase the already gigantic budget deficit to 2.5 trillion. Remember, oh my God, I'm going to get it wrong. It's Pay-As-You-Go Act? Is it Pay-As-You-Go? Did I get it right this time? I always say Save-As-You-Go. I get it backwards. Right? He's saying it will massively increase the already gigantic budget deficit to 2.5 trillion. It will increase it more than that, but immediately pay as you go. Okay, got it right. See, now I've learned. I don't know why I always said save as you go. So remember, the Pay As You Go Act, which Republicans wanted, says the minute the deficit is over 2.3 trillion, it triggers all of these cuts to different budgets. And the worst part of it is Republicans wrote this bill and are going to steal our Medicare, right? Thank God there's a 4% cap, but basically they're going to steal the minute the deficit gets to 2.3 trillion, they start stealing 45 billion a year, and it will. This year, the budget will get to 2.5. Believe me, it will get to 3.8 sooner after. And that's the libertarian think tanks say between 3.4 and 3.8. It will actually probably be much higher than that. But the minute it gets beyond 2.3, they start stealing our Medicare. They're going to steal 45 billion a year for 10 years for a total of 500 billion. It's messed up. So budget deficit to 2.5 trillion and burden American citizens with crushingly unsustainable debt. And again, there's also other things, other categories in the budget. They're going to take 100% of those categories. I just think we should all be very aware that they're going to steal from Medicare. I know people like to say, well, Clinton balanced the budget. You know how they did that? It was a Republican Congress who stole from Social Security and Medicare to balance the budget. So I don't think we should ever be stealing the money we thought was going to be available when we need it. right? And that's another reason why the worst thing we could do, us people who eventually need to retire, is cut the Department of Education, right? Our money we're paying into Medicare and Social Security, it's being used for the boomers now. And there's a lot of them retiring at once. We need Gen Z and Gen Alpha. God help us all. No, I'm just kidding, Gen Z. You guys are great. It's not your fault. But they are the ones. We need them to support us when we're old. So we need, the more educated they are, right? We know kids who don't have pre-K education, meaning preschool, like are literally limited to how much their lifetime earnings will be, hundreds of thousands of dollars less. That's how much education matters. That's why we need to invest in children. There's no amount we should not invest in education, because that's what's going to yield, however high their income becomes, that's what we tax and we retire off of. That's the selfish argument, MAGA, but stop trying to say, I don't care if anyone gets educated, then you're not going to be able to retire. It's important that the people below us make money. Otherwise, we're not going to be able to retire. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Let me find where we are. Oh, here we are. Then Elon Musk did too, which I actually liked this post. I didn't like it on X. I'm saying I like looking at statistics. He said Congress is making America bankrupt, and I follow World of Statistics too, and he was quoting the deficit. These are the deficit numbers since 2000, right? And you could see the deficit in 2000 was 236 billion. You could see how it grows, and in 2001 it went down. It's fascinating to look at. You can look. In 2007 it was back to 161 billion. And if you don't understand the deficit, right? It's the difference between the revenue brought in and the spending. And since Clinton, and you can look this up if you don't believe me, what happens is the Republicans blow out the deficit and Democrats pay it down. That is what has happened. That is what happens. Democrats balance the budget, lower the deficit. Republicans get into power, give rich people and corporations tax cuts again, and F us over. But you can see in 2024, we're at 1.83 trillion. The minute we pass that 2.3 trillion number, they steal our Medicare. Oh, I forgot I wrote a definition of the deficit. Thank you. I love a Super Nintendo controller. A budget deficit occurs when money going out exceeds money coming in, right? That's pretty, yeah. Anyways. Oh, and I said this, but it's World of Statistics. This great account to follow if you like numbers. Love it. It's at stats_feed. Great account. I thought this was interesting. Patriot Takes posted this and said from a MAGA insider, and I don't know who, but they basically said what Elon Musk did to Trump today was not worth any of the Doge cuts. Trumpy is very mad at Space Karen. He has undermined his entire policy mandate, which is true. This is basically Trump's one bill, and he wanted to do it in all one bill so no one could look how shady it was, right? Because there's a lot of things in this bill that no one would ever vote for. This is why MAGA said we will only vote for single subject bills so that a bunch of crazy couldn't be slipped in. But now MAGA's still voting for this crap. And now people are combing through this bill and finding out how many shady ass things are in this bill and favors for corporations and tech bros, and it's horrible. He has undermined his entire policy mandate, made passing the big, beautiful bill a lot harder. Well, my guess is he wanted Scott Bessent to go because of that black guy. So now I find it fascinating. Like Trump's learning what it's like to deal with a malignant narcissist who has more money than him. It's kind of poetic. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Trump's learning what it's like to deal with Trump. And I will say this, because I don't think, like, I'll say this. I used to work in the tech industry and advertising, and I talk about how my boss used to always, they laugh at Elon Musk. Like, sleeping through 4 years of undergrad, they're not impressed by that in the tech industry. He's not a rocket scientist. He got a 4-year physics degree. He's not a coder. Like, in the tech industry, they laugh at him behind his back, like the real coders and things. But he's smarter than Trump. I think nobody would disagree with that. Elon Musk is much smarter than Trump. So I do find it absolutely hilarious that now this is like Trump's nightmare. Like, someone with more resources, hundreds of millions of dollars, like 500, like almost $500 billion or whatever. I don't know what Elon Musk's net worth is since Tesla tanked, but somewhere between like 300 and 500 billion is now betraying Trump. This is why you don't trust malignant narcissists, right? Given a massive shot of energy to the Democrats and made winning the midterms 50% harder. Oh yeah, and I don't even know if I mentioned this. In one of his rants, he's now threatening any Congress people that vote for this bill. He's saying that he's going to primary them. This is one of the things he said yesterday. Like, we're going to get rid of anyone who votes for this bill in November. So now Republicans are like, oh my God, what do I do? And then, so he posts all this, and Rand Paul's like, I agree with Elon. So now, the trending thing yesterday on X is like, I agree with Elon. We both seen the massive waste in government spending. The waste is the Defense Department. That's why this annoys me, though, because Elon Musk wanted to steal from poor people and steal all of our data so he can try to control us. It's hilarious. Don't act like he cares. Unless you're willing to cut the Pentagon budget and that waste, then you're a fraud. But yeah, so Rand Paul basically is like, I agree with Elon. No, I don't want to get into that. Thomas Massie, right? That's the representative that Trump says from Kentucky. Trump's going to try to primary, who's voted against everything Trump has brought in the House because the math's not mathing. Says Elon's right. So there's this huge backlash, and it's fascinating watching MAGA be like, wait a minute. Who do we follow? We can't read or do math ourselves, so we don't know who's right. It's fascinating to watch these people. And the only thing MAGA does is what about? The truth is, yeah, basic math. This bill is not good. But also, the answer to why this bill is not good is not steal from all of us more. We are all being robbed by billionaires. The answer is to get billionaires and get money out of politics. Anyways, and I just wanted to replay this clip of his weird interview with CBS News as well.
So, I was disappointed to see the massive spending bill, frankly, which increases the budget deficit, doesn't decrease it, and undermines the work that the Doge team is doing. So,
Doge team's not doing good work. Again, he's cost more money than he cut. Oh, and by the way, I will say they finally sent some of the Doge cuts to Congress, to the Senate for a review. It's $9 billion. $9 billion in Doge cuts they sent to Congress this morning to add to the bill. And it's just cutting NPR, cutting PBS. It's just things Trump likes. It's nothing. Well, because of the federal firings, we don't even know if they're lawful. But yeah, it's $9 billion. And it's basically just cuts to NPR and things of that nature. It's nothing real. $9 billion. I mean, that won't get us anywhere. $9 billion is nothing. You said $1 trillion. You said $2 trillion. Oh, and this was the best. So then Representative Scott Perry responds to Elon Musk and goes, so Elon Musk is right to call out House leadership. I wish I had a nickel for every time the Freedom Caucus sounded the alarm and nobody listened, only to find out the hard way we are right all along. Keep in mind, all these frauds voted for this bill in the House. All of us, okay, now all of a sudden you guys can do math and you understand it's bad. You still voted for it. Oh, I screenshotted that twice. And then everyone, oh God, Scott Perry was like, oh no, that's what it was. He got community noted. Scott Perry, Representative Scott Perry voted yes for this bill. Yeah, it's easy to act like you care after the fact, but you also voted for it. That everyone just was screenshotting his voting record for the bill and sending it to him. Oh, you can do math, but you still voted for it. That makes you worse. Scott Perry needs to go. All these people that voted yes, and now they're like, yeah, I knew the whole time this would ruin Americans' lives. Cool. Oh, and Margarine, God, this is Margarine Taylor Greene apparently didn't read the bill, and then she had someone read it for her. And actually, I hate to say this, it is a good point though. Like, this is one of the things that I was talking about. All of these, basically in this 1,200 page bill, there's all these favors. Trump's been bribed by big tech, and there's all these favors in this bill for big tech. And one of the scariest ones is about AI. Basically, I'm not going to read her whole, but she basically came out and was like, oh, this bill's messed up. It's like, why'd you vote for it, weirdo? Maybe you should learn to read then and listen to people when they say it's messed up. But what she's specifically talking about is like, for 10 years, no state can like sue or try to change laws around AI, no matter how damaging it is to children, no matter how misleading, no matter what. Nobody can change AI laws for like 10 years. I'm trying to, yeah, here we go. The big beautiful bill strips states of the right to make laws or regulate AI for 10 years. This was slipped into this bill and many more things like it. Trump basically was just bribed by people. I'm adamantly opposed to this, and it is a violation of states' rights, brother. And I would have voted no if I had known this was in there. We'll get to reading, Margarine. Maybe you should learn to read. We have no idea what AI will be capable of in the next 10 years, and giving it free rein and tying states' hands is potentially dangerous. God damn it, for once she's right. She can't read, and we should all be extra concerned about that still to this day. But this is something like Ro Khanna was screaming about this. This is what Ro Khanna was saying, he's the representative of Silicon Valley, and he's like, hey, no state can regulate AI. What if it's used to take over the country? Remember, Doge stole all of our data and are going to use it in this powerful AI tool to basically oppress all of us. And then somehow it slipped in this bill that no one can regulate AI for 10 years, no states. Is it making sense now what these people are up to? And who knew Margarine was going to look? She was screaming on the House floor about it this morning. I did record it. It's painful, but because no one will listen to Democrats. Ro Khanna was screaming on the House floor before they voted in Congress about this, and they're all like, he's just making up lies. So I guess if someone whose brain literally does not work and admittedly cannot read says it, they'll listen. Like, what world are we living in? Keep tapping the screen. We're almost to 250K. I appreciate you guys. Thank you, so much. Ew, don't talk over me, Margarine. Thank you guys so much for tapping the screen. If you like my research and work that I do on the People's Receipts, this is my Cash App and Venmo. It's just like my account name on TikTok, which, by the way, real quick, let me look up. I'm still trying to get to 200,000 followers. Before everyone says you're at 200,000 followers, I don't think I am. It says I have, because you could see the exact number in TikTok Studio. It says why can't I read numbers? 1,999,961. So I need 39 followers to get to 200,000. It seems like every day, somehow, no matter how many followers I get, I'll just lose a few. So anyways, even if it says I'm at 200,000 followers, I'm not. So if you're not following me, please do.
Is more sophisticated now than computers.
Oh, and I'll update the gifting goal while I'm in here. Thank you so much for the gift. Apply. And then I was also going to say, I'm trying to get back to 500 subscriptions. That's the yellow star in the bottom left-hand corner. If you would like to buy some subscriptions, you can buy them for other people or choose randomly or choose who. Please do. But again, puzzle piece. All this happened at once. This is great. We can do it all at once. Hold on. I just have to do this puzzle piece thing. So they know I'm not a robot. And this is my Cash App and Venmo. If you like my research, please do support me because like we learned yesterday when that guy was screaming at me that I was paid by the government, I'm not. And I've never accepted money. Even when I worked on Kamala Harris's campaign, I did it for free. So again, this is Marge, who had someone else finally read those 1,200 pages of that big, beautiful bill, reminding everyone, well, she's not in the Freedom Caucus because she was kicked out for allegedly assaulting Bobo in a bathroom. So she actually is no longer in the Freedom Caucus because it was her Bobo and they chose Bobo. But just a reminder that these people who said they would never vote for any bill that wasn't a single issue bill voted for this bill. And now we're like, oh, by the way, I read it now and realized there's a problem. But she's on the House floor this morning, and this is a problem. In that bill, it says that no states can regulate AI for 10 years. I mean, that's basically like Peter Thiel can rule us with tyranny of AI. Thank you, SG Faith, for the 5 giveaway subs. W Faith in the SG Faith in the chat, especially if you got a sub. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. So again, this is this morning on the House floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise today to address the House about a clause that is in the One Big Beautiful Bill. This clause would take away state rights to make laws or regulate AI.
States' rights. Why? She can't even. God, worthless.
For 10 years. I think federalism is something that we must always protect. And I warn against the dangers of protecting a tech industry where we have no idea the future of what this industry will hold. AI is rapidly developing. AI has developed quickly over the past few years. Imagine what it will be 1 year from now, 5 years from now, and 10 years from now. When we look to the future, we cannot take away states' rights to regulate or make laws to protect the people in their state or to regulate businesses that operate in their state. That would be destroying the very foundation of this country, which is federalism. We must always limit federal power and protect state power. Now, the push.
Just look, she's right about this AI thing. It is terrifying. Trump is in bed with big tech and is going to allow them to do whatever the F they want with AI to control us, confuse us, feed it our data and use it as a weapon against us. I mean, it is terrifying. She's right. But also, all Trump has done is grow the size of the swamp. He spent $200 billion more in the first 100 days than Joe Biden did last year. Trump has let big business, big tech, corporations, lobbyists do the backstroke in the swamp. His attorney general was a lobbyist on K Street, a lawyer for lobbying firms. Susie Wiles, the Ice Maiden, his chief of staff, was a lobbying lawyer. That's what she did. She was a lobbyist. Like, if you guys don't understand, if you really are, this is what I keep saying. If you're for limiting the size of the federal government and that's your belief, then she's a fraud because all Republicans have done is grow the size of the federal government. Period. And this is the other thing. You guys think firing federal workers makes the government smaller? Wrong. Do you know which workers cost the most money? The workers that work for the federal government that are actually federal employees are like 2% of the budget. The big ones, they're private employees contracted to work for the federal government. Those are the ones that cost all the money. But because Republicans are in bed and paid for by corporations and lobbyists, they don't get rid of the people that actually cost the most money. It's a joke. If she was really for states' rights, brother, She wouldn't be voting for anything Donald Trump was doing. She'd be doing what Thomas Massie is doing and what Rand Paul is doing and screaming for it to stop. Period. That's the only reason. I don't love Rand Paul, but at least he's screaming for it to stop. Thomas Massie, too.
Back in the reasons that I've been told about this is that American tech and AI companies must be able to compete with China. Well, American and tech and AI companies can compete with China, and they should compete with China. However, we don't destroy federalism in order to allow them to do that. That would be a fool's errand. Here's how this can work. Governors and state legislatures can make their states friendly for tech companies in AI, bringing these companies in by making it easy for these companies to operate in their states. That's how it's been done for every single innovation, industry, manufacturing, and all companies across America. You don't destroy federalism for one industry, you protect it and allow states to compete to bring those companies into their states. That's the right way to handle this going forward. Here's a lesson for us all. No matter what political party holds office and is in charge, we should all watch carefully the bills that we pass, and we should be mindful about protecting not only state rights, but the rights of the American people, and look to the future.
So maybe you should have read the damn bill before you voted yes. This is so... People were screaming this on the House floor before you voted yes, traitor. Republicans are such hypocrites. I can't. But I can't express to you as someone that came from the tech industry. The tech industry is not lobbying with billions of dollars to be deregulated. The tech industry has never been regulated. It is the Wild West where all this money is concentrated, and Trump is forming this like tech oligarchy we should all be terrified of. We need to regulate the shit out of the tech industry. I shouldn't be saying this out loud. It's scary. Like, as someone that used to work in the tech industry, people would be turned off for saying these types of things. But I mean, it's truly true. Right? If they cared, this is why the TikTok ban is just Congress people insider trading. If they cared, we do what the EU does and create data privacy laws and protect all of our data so tech companies can't package it and sell information about all of us. It's ridiculous. It is the conservatives that let the tech industry create this much and consolidate this much power. It is conservatives that put us in this position over and over and over because they bend over backwards and or give Andrew Jacksons to corporations and billionaires. And then they're like, oh, wait a minute. Trump slipped in this bill because he was bribed to not regulate AI for 10 years and to stop states from doing it as well. And you're surprised by that? This is your dream, not ours. It's embarrassing that we're here now. Anyways, so Caitlin Collins did this piece, which I thought was good, kind of talking about how now the House Republicans are like, yeah, Space Karen's right. No one should vote for this bill, which it is funny because it's also ridiculous. Like, they all can't read. And now they're like, wait a minute, this bill's bad. But you all voted for it. You voted yes.
President Trump is working the phones and calling Republicans and urging them to pass what he is calling the big, beautiful bill. We're learning tonight that some House Republicans who voted for it may not have actually read all of it. Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene wants the Senate to remove a provision in the bill that, yes, she voted for, that would restrict states from regulating artificial intelligence, arguing that it violates states' rights and saying, quote, full transparency. I did not know about this section on pages 278, 279. I would have voted no if I had known this was in there.
I voted no if I could read. By the way, I just saw this. Steph, thank you for the super chat on YouTube. She said, you should get a job reading bills to margarine. Can you imagine? Yeah, that would be the worst job in history, to have to read government bills to margarine. I don't think people read it to her. I think they just are like, Oh, just summarize it to me. Just sit by Margarine's bedside and read to her while she falls asleep. There's no amount of money on earth. That worst job. Well, this is how long. By the way, the people that work for Margarine aren't smart. I can't tell you. Like, I'm fascinated by Congress. It's the same with Lauren Boebert. I think, like, if I was hiring people, same with look at Joe Biden's cabinet. Like, I get it. Conservatives don't like that those people were brown or black or gay, but those people were the most qualified people on earth, right? That's what I would do. If I was hiring a staff, I'd be the dumbest person in the room. That's the smartest thing to do. Not Margarine and Lauren Boebert. Like, I can't tell you how many times these people, their staffs, have done research for them, and they'll go into congressional hearings, and for their 5 minutes of questioning, they're saying shit that makes no sense, or they're spewing conspiracy theories because their staff, they don't know how to research. Yeah, so I think they should. If Margarine was smart, she would hire people whose brains work.
Last week, we heard from Republican Congressman Mike Flood of Nebraska, who said he was shocked a crowd when he admitted that he had not read portions of the president's bill before voting to pass it. Also tonight, we're hearing from Republican Scott Perry, who is sharing Elon Musk's sentiments of this bill, saying that he wished he had a nickel for every time that the Freedom Caucus sounded the alarm and nobody listened. Perry did not mention there in that tweet that, in fact, he also voted yes on this bill, which passed by a 215-214 margin with one present vote. My congressional sources tonight are Republican Congressman Tony Gonzalez of Texas and Democratic Congressman Ro Khanna of California. Did both of you read this bill? I mean, it was quite lengthy. It was 1,100-ish or so pages, I guess I should note here.
Yes, and what I'd say is there's not one bill I think I've ever voted for that I've agreed 100% with. Every bill either doesn't go far enough or doesn't go far enough.
Insider trader Tony Gonzalez says what? Nobody cares, Tony. Stop wearing eyeliner, Captain. What's that guy's name? Captain Hook? Yeah, that's what Captain Jack Sparrow.
Or goes too far. So it's not uncommon for members, to not agree with a bill that they voted for.
But what did you make of what Scott Perry was saying tonight in terms of saying, if I had a nickel for every time that this was a complaint, but then he did vote yes on it. It wasn't really someone who was, they were in the part of the group that was talking to the White House, but they did eventually vote yes on this.
As politics, I think a lot of times you have people that are going to say one thing and do another. I mean, that's literally politics 101. What I'd like to see is people stand up and push back against some of the really terrible things and make sure a final product, whatever comes out, is.
See that eyeliner? He has eyeliner on, thick under eye eyeliner on constantly. I don't know if it's tattooed on or someone needs to get close to him and check. He's remember when JD Vance went through that very angry hot topic period where he had under eye black eyeliner on? Tony Gonzalez has been in that phase for years. Also, I can't, moderate Republican insider traders, please don't speak. No, please don't. It's just sickening at this point.
Indeed, that big, beautiful bill that we're all waiting for.
How do Democrats see this? I mean, we're watching a lot of them come out and praise Elon Musk today now that he's criticizing it, which is not what we have heard from Democrats over the last 6 months or so.
Well, first of all, good for Marjorie Taylor Greene, because I did actually point out this provision that this bill has a moratorium for 10 years on any state and having any regulation on AI to protect truck drivers' jobs, to protect kids from social media. It was one of the worst provisions. Some of us did talk about it, and I'm glad that she's now speaking about it because it's a horrible provision.
Is fascinating because you know what I learned from this bill? He was talking about this, screaming about it on the House floor. And so I learned this from what's that guy's name? What's the Indian fellow's name that Elon Musk ran out of Doge? Vivek Ramaswamy. I've learned that possibly conservatives, I shouldn't say let's say conservatives will listen to white blonde women more than brown men, which I'm actually surprised by. You know what I mean? Because I thought conservatives would never listen to women speaking, but apparently they will take white blonde women's opinions or speaking over brown men. Because Yeah, if you guys could listen, people tried to tell you about this. Now all of a sudden they're like, "What?" Yeah, a brown man was screaming that. The guy, his district is Silicon Valley. He tried to tell you.
Moratorium for 10 years on any state and having any regulation on AI to protect truck drivers' jobs, to protect kids from social media. It was one.
You guys don't know what he means by drivers' jobs. Self-driving AI like trucks are hitting the road. Like truck driving is like a middle class job, and we should not let AI driverless vehicles take that industry from people who want to provide from their families. And that's what Trump's trying to do. They're like, no one will notice we slipped this in here while we automate all these capitalistic industries and push people out of jobs.
The worst provision. Some of us did talk about it, and I'm glad that she's now speaking about it because it's a horrible provision. We need to get it out. Now, look, Elon Musk, this isn't politics. You've got Jamie Dimon, you've got Ray Dalio saying that this bill is going to add $3.8 trillion to the debt.
Jamie Dimon's like the head of Chase Bank.
I've known Elon for 15 years. He cares about the deficits. He really wanted to lower them because of the bond markets, because of the interest rates. And this does the exact opposite. And they're sounding the alarm. And the bond markets are sounding the alarm. Ray Dalio is saying, be very afraid with the bond markets.
That's what I keep telling you guys about. MAGA thinks when the markets go up, that's good. It's not good. But anyways, I do think Bro Comment is always very strategic. I do like how he's just like, good job, Margarine. I'd be like, I said that. Why can't anyone listen when I talk? Yeah, he did say that. I heard him say it. Oh my God. I don't have a screenshot. We're all about to have the best moment of our lives. You guys all know how I feel about this man. If you are ever looking for just the best anchor on news in gross for-profit media, CNN is dead. I think we can all agree. Jake Tapper, nobody should ever listen to a word out of Jake Tapper's mouth or anyone else on CNN by nature of just, I feel, okay, I shouldn't say that. I don't feel that way about women because as female journalists, it's so hard to get a job and have a show and keep it and build credit in that industry. So not really talking about Abby Phillips or Caitlin Collins or those people because I just think women journalists are just trying to scratch and claw their way and up any way they can. So not talking about that, but talking about men in general in for-profit media, Jake Tapper, and honestly, Silver Fox, Anderson Cooper, I loved you, but I don't know if you guys know who Anderson Cooper is. He's a Nepo baby. His mom is Gloria Vanderbilt. So I'm just letting, if you guys don't understand, when I talk about obscene wealth, Anderson Cooper is the literal progeny of obscene wealth. Gloria Vanderbilt wasn't a bad, very rich person, but still, the Vanderbilts, if you don't understand, I mean, that's literally 1890s, oligarchy. Anderson Cooper does have a trust. There's a HBO documentary. I do think Anderson Cooper. Her money is in a trust. It depends on how. Yeah, because if it was passed directly to him, I don't know if you understand. Because they're avoiding taxes. Yeah, it wasn't passed directly to him. Then he'd have to pay taxes. Anyways, my point is just Anderson. If you can sit. Anderson Cooper can go anywhere, right? Anderson Cooper is a real journalist. And don't get me wrong, I love him. He's done his time. He was I was about to say war hero. That is not what I meant. But it used to be real journalists. You had to go do time in a war zone. And Anderson Cooper has done all that. I used to love Anderson Cooper. I just don't know. As these male journalists who have all the street cred in the world, you war correspondent. Thank you, Gigi. I was like, war hero? No. I couldn't remember. War correspondent. Anderson Cooper has done all the things journalists need to do to be legitimate. So is this man. If you don't know the history of Lawrence O'Donnell, look it up. But I'm just saying, if you're sitting at CNN while some of these changes, I don't know. I just think for-profit media is gross. Lawrence O'Donnell has covered every U.S. president since Nixon. Like, this man is a genius. I love him. And you have to hear what he said last night. After all this stuff with Space Karen was happening, Lawrence O'Donnell is the best.
National debt. Republicans have always increased the national debt. That is the only thing they've ever done with the national debt. And Democratic administrations have always reduced the deficits that have been run up by reckless Republican presidents and Republican Congresses. That is the budgetary cycle we've been in since the 1980s. Republican presidents increase the deficits. Democratic presidents from Bill Clinton forward come into office and reduce the deficits created by the Republican presidents. And then when Republican presidents get another chance, they run up the deficits again, and they always do it exactly the same way, with massive tax cuts for the rich. And that is now an old story that Elon Musk learned today. Elon Musk, the person who Donald Trump calls both a genius and a boy, just learned that today. He just learned today who runs up the national debt, who increases the budget deficit every single time a Republican president is in the White House. That is exactly what happens. And every single time a Democratic president is in the White House, those budget deficits come down. Bill Clinton got it down to a balanced budget by the year 2000. And George W. Bush then immediately raised the national debt by $1 trillion tax cut to the already massively wealthy. The Republicans are going to massively increase the budget deficit and increase the national debt again. National debt.
I'm telling you, TiVo, whatever. God, are we still calling it TiVo? What's it called? Record. I use YouTube TV. I don't know what cable you guys use. I highly recommend YouTube TV because you have unlimited recording capability. I record every show, like every show on Fox, every show on MSNBC, every show on CNN. That way, if I ever need to like reference it, oh yeah, I'm going to get it wrong. Someone said West Wing. Was he a writer? He's like a producer and a writer. I think he has a producer credit on West Wing. Yeah, like I didn't know that. I think Nemo is the one that told me that the first time I learned that Nemo, the creator. I didn't know that because I'm not obsessed with I can't recite the West Wing like Nemo can. Yeah, I think he wrote like a few episodes, and is like he got like a producer credit as well. This guy, I mean, he should. Like I said, he's covered every administration, and there's many reasons I respect Lawrence O'Donnell during Trump's what am I trying to say? Stormy Daniels trial. He stood in line at like 3:30 in the morning Eastern time every day to get into the courtroom. He's a real journalist. So is Anderson Cooper. Actually, Anderson Cooper is the last real male journalist at CNN, but he's still sitting there. I don't know. We'll see. It's just hard to watch for-profit media and what it's becoming. It's very hard. But I love DVR. By the way, I saw that. Whoever reminded me, it's called DVR. Thank you. Digital video recording. Yeah, probably should just remember that. Thank you. Now so this is fascinating. Steve Bannon, because this is very weird. Steve Bannon has ridden Trump's coattails, but also Steve Bannon, if you know anything about Steve Bannon, he hates corporations. He hates billionaires, right? Like so it's interesting. He hates Elon. He hates Space Karen because of his wealth. So I was really interested. I was like, this is going to be it. Like, it's almost like his two step parents are fighting. And it's like, who's going to get custody of Steve Bannon type thing? I don't know. But Steve Bannon there's two clips I want to show you because it is fascinating to watch Steve Bannon thread a needle.
There are no Doge cuts. Let me repeat this. And this is not USA.
You heard it here first from me, not from this weirdo, but he's right. There aren't and more people should say it. That's why it's I think it's a good strategy for Democrats in Congress because MAGA won't listen to Democrats just doing basic math and be like, you're being robbed by billionaires. So I think it's a good strategy for Democrats to be like, see, Space Karen's saying it, but still, Space Karen is also a fraud.
There are no Doge cuts. Let me repeat this. And this is not USAID. Those were programmatic things. I'm talking about waste fraud. Where's the fraud in Medicaid? Where is it? They haven't showed up with any. Has anybody been turned over to DOJ for fraud? The problem with Musk, and I said this from the beginning, he gave false hope to this political class who doesn't want to cut anything. The reason, if the big, beautiful bill's got all these problems, and it has some issues, he drove it because he promised $1 trillion, ladies and gentlemen, $1 trillion that got him off the hook. It's time for everybody to grow up. Run around, show me where it is. The rescission next week is $9 billion, and $2 billion, folks, is PBS and NPR. Give me a break. Didn't need Doge for that. Been fighting for that.
Told you, if you weren't listening, and I think I got a Fox article for you, MAGA, if any of you are silently listening, because I know you won't listen to left wing. The Doge cuts that were delivered to Congress this morning, or a couple of days ago, but they're kind of being talked about more this morning now that the debates are starting. They're not real cuts. It's $9 billion. We're talking about PBS and NPR, just pointless things.
Forever. There's $7 billion in there supposedly of, fraud. On a $7 trillion, he committed to the President of the United States $1 trillion.
It's allegedly, according to the Daily Mail and some Capitol Hill bloggers that work for Republicans, why Space Karen has that black eye, because a 62-year-old economist was like, you're a fraud. You said you were going to cut $1 trillion. Now you're saying it's $150 billion, and that's not real either. Because remember, and these are low estimates, that just all of his all the BS he did and the lawsuits, and this is just the start, is $135 billion. That's the statistical math model, the floor of what he's cost us by being an idiot. So he's caught, and it will end up being much, much more. Believe that, right? Just the lawsuits from unlawful firings. So he cost us more money than he has saved us. And that's really the problem, right? And we know the real cuts are in the Pentagon. It's with these defense contractors and these defense contracts awarded to these billionaires. That's where the waste, fraud, and abuse is. Now, okay, whatever. I'm not saying whatever. I could attack. Stop defending Trump. Trump is a grifter. And this is the interesting thing about conservatives, right? It's like, Steve Bannon believed in Trump, but that was because he thought Trump was going to do what he wanted, right? And it turns out, as everyone finds out, Trump's in it for himself. Trump's a grifter who doesn't identify with people like Steve Bannon. He identifies with other billionaires. He wants to be a freaking Saudi prince. That's who Trump sees himself as. So, but the problem is nobody could ever consolidate the masses and form a cult like Trump can. So they have to back him, but he doesn't believe in the same things as Steve Bannon does. But here's Steve Bannon made one other point, and I was like, this was today on his show today. Steve Bannon goes live I do for 5 hours a day. I used to have time to watch it, to keep an eye on him, because I used to be really scared of him. But this point is actually even better.
Want to stop the dead bomb, Elon and the guys on Capitol Hill? You're going to have to raise taxes. The wealthy can't get an extension of the tax cut. That's got to go to the middle class and the working class. That has to be extended and it has to be made permanent. At 40%, the top bracket or 40%, you pick them. That's got to go to 39, go back to 30, snap back to 39.5% and go to 40%. The math simply doesn't.
Hey, that's the bottom line. The truth is, it doesn't matter. They can say, we'll steal more from the poor. We'll steal more from the poor. That will never work. Right. And the problem is, Trump is only protecting billionaires and corporations. The rich cannot keep getting these tax cuts in perpetuity. I support the tax cuts for the middle class, but they're not in perpetuity. Do you understand that? He gives rich people and corporations tax cuts in perpetuity. MAGA means they never end. Ours do. That's why we're doing this again. Right. And we cannot, it has to do with balancing the budget. The math doesn't math. Either we tax the rich and corporations or we will never recover from this debt hole we're in. Oh, I love this. God. I mean, I cannot. Honestly, Caroline Leavitt is officially the dumbest press secretary Republicans have ever had. Or the most pathological. I mean, you could decide whichever one. Either she's so dumb, she doesn't know she's lying, or she is a sociopath. I don't know. But I found this clip hilarious.
Just cross, Caroline, how mad do you think President Trump is going to be when he finds out that Elon Musk said, "I'm sorry, but I just can't stand it anymore. This massive, outrageous, pork-filled congressional spending bill is a disgusting abomination. Shame on those who voted for it. You know you did wrong. You know it."
Look, the president already knows where Elon Musk stood on this bill. It doesn't change the president's opinion. This is one big, beautiful bill, and he's sticking to it.
Yeah,
Tamara.
thank you.
Can you imagine? I'd be like, I quit my job because I think that I look like an absolute fool standing up here every day supporting a grifting liar. Like, I could never, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Actually, I don't know if that's necessary right now. Sorry, I'm just thinking of the order of these clips. Now, this is hilarious. This is the best. Okay, so Mike Johnson is like sinking. His head is below water. He's drowning. He tried to call Space Karen, and Space Karen won't answer the phone anymore. Hey, you guys let Space Karen get a black eye allegedly from a 62-year-old economist, and now this malignant narcissist is going to try to ruin all your lives. Listen, this morning. Mike Johnson's having a really hard day.
Sort of alluding to electoral threats against Republicans who voted for the big, beautiful bill. I mean, he spent $200.
It's hard to hear what she's saying. She's saying that Space Karen is saying that he's going to primary anybody that votes for this bill. Remember when he was doing that for Trump? Now it's the opposite. Now he's saying anyone that votes for this bill, I'm going to primary, which is, can you imagine? Trump has no idea what to do. That's what she's asking Mike Johnson about. Is now Elmo saying anyone that votes for this bill, he's going to get rid of in November.
$90 million in the 2024 election. How much of a threat is this to keeping the majority in 2024?
Look, let me just address the Elon controversy and tell you that I consider Elon a friend. He's obviously brilliant. I just told you we credit him with all the big changes with Doge and everything else. It's curious to me what happened this week. And full disclosure, Elon and I had a great conversation, about a half-hour long talk on Monday this week. Monday morning, and we talked about the big beautiful bill, because I think he was trying to make a joke a couple of days earlier. It can't be big and beautiful, and I started the conversation. Oh yes, it can, my friend. It's very beautiful. So we talked about all the record level of savings. My friends, no government in the history of mankind has ever cut $1.6 trillion in a piece of legislation. We're doing that here. I mean,
that's what? Yeah, because no one has. What do you mean? Yeah, no government has ever robbed the poor of their country to pay for tax cuts of billionaires and corporations. Also, no country has this type of tax revenue because we are the number one gross domestic product. Like, yeah, so that's true, but for a completely disingenuous, idiotic reason. Oh, it gets worse.
Happy texts, Monday, and then yesterday, 24 hours later,
saying Space Karen was giving me happy texts on Monday. That's hilarious.
Happy texts, Monday, and then yesterday, 24 hours later, he does a 180 and he comes out and opposes the bill. And it surprised me, frankly. And I don't take it personal. We don't take it personal. Policy differences are not personal. I think he's flat wrong. I think he's way off on this, and I've told him as much, and I've said it publicly and privately. I'm very consistent in that. But
Mike Johnson, you're consistent in being a pathological liar. Elon Musk is correct about saying the bill is a joke and will put us all in debt for the rest of our lives. But we shouldn't be giving tax cuts to the rich and robbing the poor in it. And you're just a liar. Like, this is the guy that said it's not going to blow out the deficit. It's not going to put us in debt. Like, you are a liar. No one can believe a word you say.
Concerned about effectiveness on the midterms? I'm not. Let me tell you why. Because when the big, beautiful bill is done and signed into law, every single American is going to do better. This bill is geared for middle and working class Americans, and they are going to feel the effects of it, and they're going to feel it before the midterm elections. So I have no concern whatsoever. I'm absolutely convinced that we're going to win the midterms and grow the House majority because we're delivering for the American people and fulfilling our campaign promises, and we'll see how.
Keep being convinced of that. You guys are not winning anything. I mean, unless you're fixing elections, which I guess we'll find out. Nobody knows. But it's not because anyone has any faith in any of you. You guys work for nobody but billionaires and corporations and lobbyists. That has always been the problem with conservatives. You are the swamp. You are literally the swamp. Keep tapping the screen. We are almost at 350K. Appreciate it so much. Oh, and this is where he says that Space Karen is ghosting him.
You talked to Elon on Monday. He made this 180. What do you think changed? Why do you think he's coming out against this now? And have you spoken to the president and Elon since the infamous tweet?
Well, I'll tell you, I called Elon last night and he didn't answer, but I hope to talk to him today. I mean, it's not, it's very friendly, and we've laughed about our differences on policy before. I'm not upset about this, and I think he understands, and he's acknowledged to me before, that this is so serious that we can't fool around with it. I mean, the debt cliff is approaching very quickly, right? All the things that are in this bill are so important for the U.S. economy. It's going to be jet fuel for the U.S. economy. All boats are going to rise. And this.
We have 45 years of data that say all boats don't rise. So you guys can keep lying to MAGA, who doesn't read and can't do basic math, but we now have 45 years of trailing data. All boats do not rise. The rich get richer. Corporations get richer. Their shareholders, which are billionaires, get richer. All boats don't rise anywhere, Mike. And hopefully you're going to end up underneath the water for all these lies. Because it's true. MAGA doesn't know how to read. They prove it time and time again. You're robbing the people that vote for you. That is the worst part.
The sooner we do that, the better. And the risk of not getting it done is enormous, not just for the Republican Party, but for the country. We got to do this. We're going to have the largest tax increase in U.S. history at the end of the year if we fail, and all the other calamities that we've talked about. So we've got to get it done. And I think Elon understands the weight of that, and I hope he comes around. I'd love to talk to him this week, and I hope he calls him back today.
Keep talking faster. Maybe you'll sound like less of a fraud. I doubt it. Thank you so much, Viola, for the $10. You're the best teacher. That's the nicest thing to say. Thank you. Thank you, Faith, for the $25. Keep up the great work. Keep giving them hell, for sure. I mean, I don't know what else to do with myself but give people hell. It's kind of what I was born to do, or abused into doing since childhood. I was born for this. Truly, actually, I'm kind of glad. I mean, truly, I always wondered what I was going to use this weird skill set for. Now we know. Oh, this is okay. So that was. Well, I'm going to kind of switch back and forth now. So this is Hakeem Jeffries doing a press conference on the same subject. Like Mike Johnson's panicking and crying, and Hakeem Jeffries is doing. And now you can watch this strategy unfold, which is smart. You're going to see Democrats in Congress all hitting the same talking point. I agree with Space Karen.
Afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Breaking news, Elon Musk and I agree with each other. The GOP tax scam is a disgusting abomination. Every single Republican who voted for the one big, ugly bill should be ashamed of themselves. They aren't helping their constituents. They are hurting their constituents. That's an objectively verifiable fact.
Did you, MAGA, and I know you, it's hard because now someone from Democratic, and notice I didn't say Democrat leadership because the adjective form of the noun Democrat is Democratic. And I really need you to learn that. But I know it's hard for you to understand. It is a verifiable fact. It's the same reason. Now, you should not trust Space Karen either. You shouldn't trust the richest man in the world. He's only turning on Trump because a 62-year-old economist allegedly gave him a black eye and things are no longer going his way. Like, that's not cool either. But it is a verifiable fact that we're all being robbed. It doesn't matter if you're like, well, I'm white and I'm a bigot and Trump's a bigot, so we're on the same team. Nope, still being robbed. But I got a violation. Did I say something wrong? Probably. I probably said something wrong. I don't know. But I mean, I'm just saying. Hey, I made it 2 hours and 24 minutes today without a violation. By this time yesterday, I got my 5th violation and then I just ended the live. Did anybody? So actually, onwards and upwards, I literally, my live yesterday was 2 hours and 30 minutes because at 2 hours and 30 minutes, I got my 5th violation. And I was like, I'm probably going to be banned now. So I am doing better than yesterday. That was because of all that illicit substance talk at the beginning. But anyways, I don't think I'm doing anything that wrong. I don't know. I think I've done a pretty good job today. But by the way, can I just focus real quick on this? I love how Hakeem Jeffries has the best signs. Oh, you can't see. Hold on. Am I doing it though? Yeah, there we go. Is this clear enough, MAGA? This is a verifiable fact. And by the way, where these hospitals are going to close are disproportionately where you all live. Just understand that leftists are more educated, by and large college educated. They have more money. They have 6-figure jobs. Like, it is not leftists that are going to be hurt the most by this. It is you all. And I'm saying that because I know that you want to believe that Trump cares about you, but it's not true. That's what is so gross about Mike Johnson. Like, I used to be annoyed when conservatives were always ousting speakers. Mike Johnson should be ousted for what he is doing to the people of Louisiana. He should, and when I mean ousted, I don't just mean from speaker. He should not be allowed in Congress. Like, Louisiana is going to be clobbered by Medicaid cuts. You're not going to have hospitals. Hundreds of thousands of people are getting kicked off Medicaid. I mean, babies are born on Medicaid. I don't think you guys fully grasp what's about to happen to you all. Period. It's going to hit red states, and I know we say red and blue states, but I live in like a purple state. I live in Arizona. I was born and raised there. So I understand it's more complicated than that. Really, urban areas tend to be bluer, right? Rural areas tend to be redder. And then there's like the South, with the whole transatlantic slave trade thing. That's where the conservatives have always been, who benefited from that. But I mean, that's really the story. Hospitals are going to close in rural areas. It's sad.
The GOP tax scam is a disgusting abomination.
Sorry, I just read a comment. Someone said Mississippi is the poorest state. Yeah, that's not true, but I don't think they use Medicaid expansion. So I actually think Louisiana might be devastated by these cuts more. But yeah, the whole South, it's already a health desert already. Like, the South is I don't think people have any idea what's coming or what's already coming. But yeah, you guys are effed in the A. And that's like, even people on the Affordable Care Act, millions of people are getting kicked off that. Like, these people have no idea what's coming. Thank you, Megclectic, for subscribing before. And wait, who bought the? I want to get it right. Sorry, hold on. Joby, thank you for the 10 giveaway subs. You're my hero. Thank you so much. I should have known it was you. Thank you so much for the giveaway subs. Joby1 in the chat. Appreciate it. Here, I'm going to go back a couple seconds because I missed what he said.
It's a disgusting abomination. It rips healthcare away from up to 14 million people, everyday Americans.
To be clear, it has been confirmed by the Nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office. Those are American citizens, not undocumented citizens. So just to be clear, I know MAGA, you want to be like, it's the illegals. It's not. It's not.
Across the country. Hospitals will close. Nursing homes will shut down. And yes, people will die. If the GOP tax scam ever became law, it's a disgusting abomination. The one big ugly bill would enact the largest cut to nutritional assistance in American history. That's also disgusting. Republicans literally want to rip food out of the mouths of children, veterans, and seniors. Every single Republican who voted for this bill should be ashamed of themselves.
Here's how dumb it is, too. That the people whose income, earned income, will be taxed and allow us to retire. They want to deprive of food while they're going to school to cripple their minds so they earn less, so we don't then have the money to retire. This is how little MAGA has any concept of how things work in this country. The people who are going to be paying the taxes that allow us to retire, they want to cripple them and reduce their lifetime ability to earn. MAGA, this is, you guys, you're not thinking, people. No one will ever convince you of thinking. Truly. No one ever will, for any reason, because you're not. Thank you, Corvette Girl, Robin, for subscribing. Thank you so much. Sorry if I missed it. I don't think I missed it at first. It came in a little late. I appreciate you.
This bill that Republicans narrowly passed, it limped out of the House of Representatives. And we're going to work hard to make sure it dies in the Senate.
Amen, Hakeem. Oh, he had some good one. He did an even better job. Is this the part? No, this is another good clip, but then he had an even, wait, is this it? Maybe it's this one or the next one. Hakeem Jeffries was on a roll.
And to make matters worse, they will saddle our children and grandchildren with more than $5 trillion in additional debt.
Into it learn to do basic math and to read, MAGA, not for you. Do it for your kids. Do it for your grandkids. Figure out what's going on. You obviously don't give a shit about yourselves. Do it for your children and their future. Figure out what's going on for them.
In order to subsidize the lifestyles of the rich and shameless. Elon Musk and I agree with each other on this particular issue. The GOP tax scam is a disgusting abomination.
Oh, and this one's my favorite. Yeah. So remember how yesterday we were watching Senator Joni Ernst from Iowa? She should be named and shamed, and also ousted from her job because she is gross. And she was like, yeah, like her own constituent at town halls, like people are going to die. Like you're stealing from, again, American citizens. 13.7 million American citizens are going to lose health care under this bill. Not undocumented immigrants. American citizens will lose health care. And she's like, yeah, everyone dies. That was her response. And then, like, her response to try to act like she cares is her strolling through a cemetery, being an even bigger a-hole, like mocking the person who said it. And Hakeem Jeffries, she's like, oh, I thought everyone knew people died, and hopefully I won't have to explain the tooth fairy, and then starts quoting the Bible, which, yes, I guess tooth fairy, flying spaghetti monster, Jesus dying on the cross for our sins, and somehow that's related to you guys all robbing us. I guess that's all the same thing, Joni, whatever. And this Hakeem Jeffries was, I think he's asked about it, and that is addressing her. It was a great moment.
So you have the senator from Iowa say, in response to a question that was heartfelt about people dying prematurely because they're going to lose health care coverage under the GOP tax scam, that everyone's going to die. Yes, Joni, we know, the American people know that at some point in their lives, they are going to pass away. The cause of death should not be Republican cruelty. The cause of death should not be this disgusting abomination of a bill. The cause of death should not be the reckless Republican effort to rip away health care from millions of people and rip food out of the mouths of starving children or veterans in the United States of America.
Love it. I mean, and I don't know if he planned that or just was, I mean, he was responding to a question, but it's true. The cause of death shouldn't be greedy a-holes that don't have spines in Congress won't stand up to billionaire grifters. That should not be, I mean, are the coroners going to put that as the cause of death on all of our death certificates? I hope they do. They were grifted by the new American oligarchy and couldn't get any health care in the richest effing country in the world. And I know this is pointless at this point. If you can't figure it out now, you're beyond help. But you are being robbed. We are all being robbed. Every developed country in the world, it doesn't matter if you're the farthest right to the farthest left, can work or not. Every developed country in the world, you can go to the doctor. You don't have to sell your body to a corporation for the right to go to the doctor. That doesn't make any sense. Your children and their ability to get health care that they need should not be tied to you pledging your life force to a corporation. Please, every country has a different form of universal health care and a different way it works to pay for itself. I know you guys all heard, well, there are wait times in Canada. Yeah, there aren't. That's not true in many ways, by the way. But I know you guys think you know. Look up the budget proposal for Medicare for all. It would pay for itself. You guys got to start thinking you deserve something. And if you can't get to the point where you understand you deserve something, then understand your children do. Understand your grandchildren do, right? I mean, if you can't do it for yourselves, do it for your kids. Read for your children. Figure out what's going on for your children. I can't say it enough. Thank you, Ave, for the $20 on Cash App. Thanks for today's receipts. No problem. And again, tomorrow we're going to do basically, they're debating this big shitty bill in the Senate. So that's pretty much what we're going to be doing tomorrow, is watching. I mean, in a way, thank you, Space Karen, for saying the truth so that maybe we have a chance to not all be robbed. I don't know. We shall see how it goes. But I'll clip all that between now and tomorrow. Oh, Hakeem Jeffries, House Minority Leader, was talking about Senator Joni Ernst from Iowa. I did find a clip of Joni Ernst addressing reporters about her saying that everyone dies. So why shouldn't we all just die of conservative greed? Yeah, here's her addressing reporters.
Clarify your comments in the town hall last week, Senator.
I'm very compassionate, and you need to listen to the entire conversation.
Do you have any regrets about that?
We want to protect the most vulnerable.
That's your girl, Iowa. And then think about it. She's the junior senator. Your guy rode into Congress on a covered wagon and it's never left. Chuck Grassley is worse than her. Like, time for some changes, Iowa. These people are gross.
Senator, is that not a valid concern people have that they may lose their health care or that others may die? Is that not a valid concern?
Or just even with the apology over the weekend, do you want?
I mean, look how much she cares about you, Iowa. Just slamming closing elevator doors, slamming car doors in faces. She cares so much. She cares so much about everyone. I can't believe it. Oh my gosh. This is Mike Johnson. I love watching Mike Johnson be under so much pressure. Like, Mike Johnson has remained in Congress by basically having no spine and being a lying grifter's lapdog. Yes, I'm talking about Trump. And finally, there's some pressure on him about his constant lying, and I can't get enough of it. This is Speaker Mike Johnson, coming out of a meeting yesterday, and he's cornered by Manu Raju and other reporters to talk about Space Karen. And he's not your friend.
Mr. Speaker, what do you say to Elon Musk who just called your bill a disgusting abomination?
Yeah, let me say this. It's very disappointing. Okay, I've come to consider Elon a good friend. He's obviously a very intelligent person, and he's done a lot of great work. We've applauded all the work they've done with Doge and identifying fraud, waste, and abuse in the government. It's a very important service that's been performed, and we're so excited about it. We're now in the process of codifying that. As you all know, the administration has qualified and quantified the fraud, waste, and abuse that they found in Doge. They're sending it to us to codify, and that's what we'll be doing with the rescissions package and the appropriations process. And so that's something we're very excited about. But with all due respect, my friend Elon is terribly wrong about the one big beautiful bill. We had a long conversation yesterday. He and I spoke for, I think, more than 20 minutes on the telephone, and I extolled all the virtues of the bill, and he seemed to understand that. We had a very friendly conversation about it, and I told him that we're achieving not only all of our priorities, all the promises we made on the campaign trail, all the America First agenda wrapped into this legislation. We're also achieving, the top line on this is two very important things. We're making permanent a massive tax cut, and we are making a massive reduction in spending. $1.6 trillion is the calculation. I've said this many times. I'll be saying it until we get this thing over the line. This is the most amount of money that any government has ever saved on planet Earth in a piece of legislation. Ever. It's a very important first start. Elon is missing it, okay? And it's not personal. I know that the EV mandate, very important to him.
So they're all implying the EV mandate is why. So just understand too, whether Trump has been lobbied by big oil. He's been bribed by big oil and oil billionaire people benefiting from oil. It's the same reason he keeps attacking wind, solar, which solar and EV, obviously these are industries Space Karen are in. And so basically the tax breaks around having solar panels, around having electric vehicles are going to be taken away. And they're implying that's what Space Karen is mad about. I mean, maybe if they took that out, they could bribe him that way. But again, I actually don't think that's what it's about. I think this has to do with, Space Karen feels like he's been shoved out and no one gives a shit about him. Also, and he stole all the data he wanted. So, I mean, he's probably done now pretending to care. But I do find it funny they're trying to say it's because of EV mandates. It's not. Even if those are gone, that means the deficit is wider. I mean, it's not that.
That is going away because the government should not be subsidizing these things as part of the Green New Deal. And I know that has an effect on his business, and I lament that. We talked about the ramp down period on that and how that should be duly considered by Congress. But for him to come out and pan the whole bill is to me just very disappointing, very surprising in light of the conversation I had with him yesterday.
Do you think that it's Tesla is what's driving this? Is that what you're suggesting?
I'm going to let others draw their own conclusions about that, but this is not personal.
Probably mad that you even said this, right? The clips I showed you earlier were after this. So it's like he probably saw you say this and he seems to have gotten more angry and then said more after. So I don't think it's helping. Again, he just mutters incoherently for like another minute, but I just want to, Mike Johnson flailing around, I find hilarious. And I think, this is just a clip of, oh my God, I'm forgetting. This is Brett, right? Sorry. Do I have it right? Is this Brett Meiselas? Yeah, it is, right? This is Brett. Ben is the oldest and Jordy's the young. Okay, I got it right. Sometimes I get confused which way. Okay, it is Brett. See, got it right. Okay, just making sure before I got it wrong. He kind of made a video when Space Karen started saying anyone that votes for this bill I'm primarying.
Oh, how the tables have turned. Elon Musk is lashing out at the Republican Party, and he's now calling on the American people to vote out all of the Republicans who have voted for this disastrous Republican budget bill. This is a major development and a major escalation by Musk against the GOP. He responded to this tweet criticizing the Republicans, and Musk wrote, in November next year, we fire all politicians who betrayed the American people. This has put Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House, on the defensive as now he is trying to attack Elon Musk, accusing Elon Musk of trying to tank the bill because he says that the removal of the EV subsidies would hurt Tesla. This is a really vicious attack by Mike Johnson on Elon Musk as he struggles to defend his disastrous bill. Republican Party.
And I don't think it's helping, weirdo. Like, I think they made a very big miscalculation by attacking Space Karen, especially because, I mean, imagine these people are all in bed together. Like, it's mutually assured destruction. I mean, they could all end each other. They all know too much about each other. And this is a scary game of chicken that's being played. Like, Space Karen could say the truth about Trump. Trump could probably bury Space Karen. And it's, this is crazy to watch because, I mean, literally it is it's a fight with mutually assured destruction. Normally sane people would avoid these type of fights, but you're talking about the richest person in the world. Like, I mean, does he care? I mean, I think precedent shows he's completely out of control. I mean, that recent New York Times article cited how he is outside the bounds of reality thanks to illicit substances. So if I were Republicans, I'd stop because I don't think that guy, I mean, playing a game of chicken with someone who's not even mentally on this planet and has more money than most countries, probably a bad idea. Frankie, thank you for the super sticker that says #1. Love you. Appreciate you. You're the best. Oh, now I'm just going to play some clips of Chuck Schumer. Please just don't throw us under the bus and vote for the bill this time. I mean, I guess the most we can hope for Chuck Schumer is that he doesn't organize a coup against the Democratic Party and get people to pull Trump over the line and vote for it like last time. Like, all you got to do, Chuck, is just shut up and not vote for it. Like, remember, he literally whipped votes for Trump last time. Well, we all watch. But again, this was Chuck Schumer. I think it's funny to watch how they hold press conferences at the same time. I'll show you clips of Chuck Schumer and the golden boy, the Speaker of the House, John Thune, talking about this.
I agree with Elon Musk. Within the hour, he put on X the following. I have it right here so you can all see it. He said, "I'm sorry, but I just can't stand it anymore. This massive, outrageous, pork-filled congressional spending bill is a disgusting abomination. Shame on those who voted for it. You did wrong," he said to them. "You know it. It will massively increase the already gigantic budget deficit to $2.5 trillion and burden American citizens with crushingly unsustainable debt." It's right here. He's right.
And Chuck, he please just don't whip votes against us and then vote with Trump. That's all you got to do. And yes, he does have to go. Chuck, enjoy these moments because hopefully you will be gone soon. You worthless. Anyways, this is the golden boy, the senator from South Dakota, Mitch McConnell's golden boy. That's why I call him that. He's he learned at Mitch McConnell's feet, and we should all fear him when he's being asked about this bill.
You criticize the Democrats saying they're going to fight against this with everything they've got. That doesn't seem to be your problem. Elon Musk seems to be your problem. Absolutely torching this bill here, saying everybody who voted for that should be ashamed.
John Thune looking oranger? Like, what is happening? John Thune, fell asleep in a tanning bed or something. He's turning into... What is going on with him? I just noticed I wasn't paying attention when I was recording this. What the F happened? He did not used to be this color.
Everybody who voted for that should be ashamed.
Well, look, we obviously respect everything that Elon did with Doge. On this particular issue, we have a difference of opinion. And I think it's rooted in the fact that he's accepting the CBO assumptions that are built upon a static scoring assessment of the effect, the macroeconomic effect.
That's not what they're doing. Actually, they are modeling it against average growth. That's not even true.
Growth effect that these changes will have on our economy. And all the modeling that we've seen suggests that the changes that are being made in the tax policy, particularly making permanent bonus depreciation, interest deductibility, R&D expensing, are going to lead to significant growth. And you couple the growth with the biggest spending reduction in American history, and you will see a reduction, not an increase in the deficit. So we have a difference of opinion. He's entitled to that opinion. We're going to proceed.
Math doesn't lie. Statistical models don't lie. The only thing that was wrong about the TCJA model was not predicting a worldwide pandemic and then the growth after, right? The economy stopping and starting again, and that growth that Biden created, by the way, right? And again, statistical models can't know when a pandemic is going to come, so they shouldn't. But mathematical models are, even with the pandemic, I mean, it was spot on. It's delusional to say that mathematical models. And by the way, Caroline Leavitt is so delusional and not smart that she's like, people in the CBO office haven't donated money to conservatives. Are you serious? Do you think that it matters? Math is math. It doesn't matter what your political leanings are. Statistical models don't lie. It's delusional.
Are you concerned that he could help tank this bill and whip members against it? Do they listen to him or they listen to you?
Well, my hope is that as he has an opportunity to further assess what this bill actually does, that he'll come to a different conclusion. But nevertheless, I mean, we have a job to do. The American people elected us to do. We have an agenda that everybody campaigned on, most notably the President of the United States, and we're going to deliver on that agenda. And the legislation as passed by the House can be approved here in the Senate, can be strengthened in the Senate in a number of ways. We intend to do that, but when it's all said and done, we will send it back to the House and hope that they can pass it and put it on the President's desk. And as I said, it does everything that we set out to do. It modernizes our military, secures our border, extends tax relief and makes permanent tax relief that will lead to economic growth and better jobs.
Robs the poor to give to the rich. Say it, John Thune. It's disgusting. And this is a senator from South Dakota. The average income in South Dakota, betraying the people of South Dakota, betraying farmers, betraying blue collar workers, and lying to them about it. Gross.
Jobs in this country and makes America energy dominant, coupled with the biggest spending.
We were already energy dominant. I can't. The weird lies coming out of I can't believe this is. God. And again, I can read. I know they're lying. They're lying to the people who are blue collar workers, on average, not college educated, that vote for them and believe the things they say. It's crazy to watch. One more Chuck Schumer clip. Farewell, Chuck. Enjoy this while it
How
lasts.
does Musk's opposition change your approach to fight against this?
Well, Musk's opposition shows how bad, if even Elon Musk, who's been part of the whole process and as Trump's buddy says the bill is bad, you can imagine how bad this bill is.
Well, I think that Musk is disagreeing with the spending cuts, right? I don't know if you guys
Look, I have
Musk wants to grow the size of the Pentagon budget. Musk wants to give himself billions and billions. Musk wants to be the recipient of the most welfare of American tax dollars while robbing the poor. There is a difference. We should be taxing the rich, taxing corporations, not robbing the poor. And please, while you guys are saying we shouldn't have bigger child tax credits, we shouldn't subsidize childcare, we're going to take away Medicaid, even though 40% of babies are born on Medicaid, please don't ask us to, and I'm talking to you conservative men, to have sex with you or to have your babies. The answer is no. And I think the gross population decline in America speaks to that. As long as you don't value women, you don't value our bodily autonomy, no, we will not have sex with you, and no, we will not have your children, you creeps. Like, it's super simple to understand. You guys don't believe we deserve the same rights as you? Then you want us to let you touch us? No. Creeps. You don't want to process grape kits? You say, oh, there's exceptions for grape and incest and life of the mother, except for sepsis rates are skyrocketing, maternal mortality is skyrocketing, unprocessed grape kits are skyrocketing. And then you're like, why doesn't anyone want to have a baby with me? Because you're disgusting and you can't read and you can't do math. And then we would have a baby with someone whose brain doesn't work. And then possibly our children wouldn't be able to do math or read. That's why. Maybe you should learn how to read and you'd be more attractive to people. Sorry, that was personal. That was just my own thoughts and feelings.
Two questions for you as well. On the big, beautiful bill, you said recently that it is, quote, blatantly wrong to say that it adds to the deficit. You essentially said that an estimate from the Congressional Budget Office and other scorekeepers you believe are wrong. But Republicans like Ron Johnson and Rand Paul disagree. They are saying that it will add to the deficit. That is their concern. Is the White House's position that those two Republican senators are, quote, blatantly wrong?
It is. Those senators, it's not news that they disagree with this president on policy, and the president has vocally called them out for it and for their not having their facts together. I would add the Congressional Budget Office has been historically wrong. In fact, they predicted the Trump tax cuts from the president's first term in 2017. Their prediction was wrong by $500 billion. Those tax cuts had nearly $500 billion more of revenue than the Congressional Budget Office scored. And I would also point out, I don't think many people know this, there hasn't been a single staffer in the entire Congressional Budget Office that has contributed to a Republican since the year 2000. But guess
maybe that's because their brains work and they don't want to be robbed by billionaires, lobbyists, and corporations. Could that be why? Because there are people that can do math and can read. But I just want to tell you that it doesn't matter if they all gave money to conservatives or none of them did. Mathematical models come out the same. Math isn't biased, but this is why I say either she is literally the dumbest person to ever be the White House press secretary, or she's a sociopath, or it's a combination of both. I don't know. I'm just, see, that's an example. Worried about her child. Like, is her child going to be able to do basic math? You think who people donate to makes mathematical models come out different, statistical models come out differently? That's a scary thought.
But there have been many staffers within the Congressional Budget Office who have contributed to Democrat candidates and politicians every single cycle since. So,
Democratic.
Unfortunately, this is an institution in our country that has become partisan and political, and we are very confident in our own economic analyses of this bill. There is $1.6 trillion in savings, and our Office of
Exactly right. All things Alicia. She said, what does that have to do with anything anyway? Exactly. It doesn't have anything to do with math. It doesn't. And that's all. Like, she never answers a question. She's just like, someone asked me a question, and then I just make a asinine statement that's unrelated to that question. Like, yeah, that's it for her. That's why I'm saying I'm going to do it again. I apologize, Sarah Huckabee Sanders. When you were a White House press secretary, I thought you weren't smart. Now I see how much more embarrassing it could truly get. So I do apologize. And Kayleigh McEnany, with your weird binder with all the colored tabs, I thought your brain wasn't working. Now I know. It could get so much worse for conservatives. Truly, it truly could. So I do apologize to you two, because your brains worked better than this woman's. I would literally resign and be like, I can't look at myself in the mirror. People are going to think I'm an idiot if I continue standing up here. But that's also why I stopped working in advertising. Manipulating people and lying to them is hard to do if you have any sense of like integrity. Like, lying to people and reverse engineering thoughts into people's head it's not personally for me. Especially people who we know who conservative voters are now, right? They're by and large uncollege educated, blue collar workers, and you're grifting people that don't know how to tell if you're lying to them. That's really messed up. Oh, wait, is this the wait, hold on. Yeah, okay. So this is Abby Phillip correcting the lies. Like, she's saying the CBO office is because they somehow donated to Democrats, probably because they can do math and they understand and can read and know that conservatives are grifting for billionaires and corporations. That's probably why they donated. It doesn't matter. It doesn't affect mathematical models anyway. But anyways, this is Abby Phillip like correcting the record, which I like. I like this moment. It's a good one.
Those tax cuts had nearly $500 billion more of revenue than the Congressional Budget Office scored.
Let's unpack that for now. As Levitt says, the CBO can't be trusted because its analysis of Trump's 2017 tax cuts were so off, but they weren't. Let's look at the numbers. It overstated growth for 2018 by just 0.3% and underestimated growth the next year by just 0.2%. And while revenue for the last 7 years was $1.5 trillion higher than the estimate, experts say that is chalked up to inflation and the pandemic. Okay, so let's say you think the CBO is wrong or is partisan, even though Speaker Mike Johnson thought it was credible when Biden was president. There are 3 other independent reports that also say that the bill is going to balloon the deficit and save nothing close to what the White House is claiming. This has been clear from the very beginning that this bill is a spending bill. It raises the deficit. You can say it's for a good reason or a bad reason, whatever it is. But why do they continue to misdirect, lie to the public about what it actually
Anyways, I think that's a great point. And she's correct. Like, sorry, you can't predict a worldwide pandemic and the extreme rise in inflation as a result of that. Like, that doesn't mean a mathematical model is wrong. I guess we could all pray for another pandemic that ruins all of our lives. You know what happened in the first pandemic, one of the largest transfers of wealth in history to the top of to billionaires and corporations. Maybe we should all hope for another pandemic. No, I don't think that's a great idea.
His argument is predicated. The White House's argument is predicated upon economic growth outpacing the expansion of the deficit. I can understand that argument if you have significant cuts. What Musk is saying, which I think any person who's ever run a business in this country will probably agree with, you can't cut taxes while maintaining the same level of expenditures. That's just not possible. The CBO says by 2010 or 10 years rather, our debt will be the number one line item in the federal budget. By 2050, they're expecting a 180% increase in our deficit. It's going to be twice as much as the gross production that we produce yearly. So our inability to pay this thing is not good for Americans. It's not good for taxpayers. It's also not good for the standing of the dollar globally. So I understand what Musk is saying. I think this bill ultimately is going to change into a number of iterations before it goes back to the House. So we'll see how this.
What you just heard, I mean, best I could see it, particularly the tech billionaires. And by the way, I talked about this yesterday. There is an amazing movie. If you have access to HBO Max, it's called Mountainhead. It is like a parody of tech billionaires. Rami Youssef plays Sam Altman. Corey Michael Smith plays Space Karen. Steve Carell, I think he's supposed to be like a Steve Jobs character who's dying of cancer. Everyone should watch that. That is the reality. If you have not seen Mountainhead, one word, please watch it and understand. In my opinion, whilst grifting, stealing, and concentrating money to the top of the economy, billionaires want the fall of America, right? They're riding late stage capitalism till the wheels fall off. They want to devalue the American dollar and then, have cryptocurrency holdings valued higher. Like, they are going to benefit from the fall of the rest of us. Understand, MAGA. If you don't understand this, I would start doing basic reading and believe math. You are condemning your children to a life of slavery and servitude at the hands of a technocracy. This is Space Karen's birthright. His grandfather tried this. Read all about it, right? I mean, that is where they are consolidating as much wealth as they can. They want the American dollar to be devalued. They want it to fail. Like, it's scary. And like, there's no middle class in America anymore. There's just us and a bunch of obscenely wealthy billionaires. Well, the tariffs, the tariffs are impacting economic growth. That's what I was showing at the beginning. Like, the ADP job, 37,000 jobs were added to the private sector in May. That is the lowest in 2 years. Trump is crippling the economy. People are paralyzed. You know how a private sector, I mean, if I was a capitalist, you know how the private sector grows? Consistent trade policy. Nobody knows what the F is going on. Yeah, he's ruining everything while grifting and stealing. I mean, if you're a billionaire, I'm sure things are fine. You're just waiting for Trump to manipulate the markets, drive them down with fear of tariff policy. Then you buy up a bunch of stuff and wait for it to soar back up when he chickens out on the tariffs. Yeah, the rich are getting richer. Huge. This bill is the biggest transfer of wealth in one bill in U.S. history. And we are all effed. Oh, yeah. I was just saying, this is a Fox News article. I like to cite things MAGA might believe, but I said this. 9.4 billion in DOGE cuts were sent to Congress, which are basically just targeting NPR and PBS. Like, cool. And USAID funding. People are going to starve to death and unalive, which, I was going to show it tomorrow. I'll show it tomorrow. Like, Lawrence O'Donnell made me cry talking about how children are literally being starved to death. So billionaires can get more. Cool. Thanks, Terry, for the $1 on Cash App. You're the best. I like the feisty Felice. Thanks, Terry. Like you too. Oh, and I don't need to go through this article. You can look it up. But yeah, the only cuts that are being, yes, Satan, also known as Russ Vogt, was being asked why they're not breaking any of the Doge cuts. This guy is awful. This is Christian nationalist Russ Vogt. I talk about him all the time. He's disgusting.
What's your reaction to the X message by Elon Musk?
Asking him about what Elon Musk wrote and like how he feels about it, basically.
We think the bill is a very good one. We think it's very strong fiscally. Nothing's changed from our view of the world. We understand where he's coming from, but if you have an accurate baseline that treats taxes the same way it treats spending, this budget is $1.6 trillion in mandatory savings. It's the most historic amount of
10 years. And mind you, that's us being robbed, MAGA. You're not saving anything. You are being robbed. That's us being robbed so rich people can get tax cuts. Every time we go to the cash register, we are taxed again with tariffs. We are being taxed over and over again. You're not the people that are getting anything from that 1.6 trillion. You're being taxed.
Mandatory reforms that this town has ever seen, and certainly we haven't seen anything like it since the mid-1990s with welfare reform.
Just want to be clear, by the way, let's say MAGA, if you're thinking, I'm not on Medicaid, right? Just so you know, when those people show up at the emergency room because we stole all their health care, then our tax dollars pay for it anyways. You guys have no idea how the government works. You understand that, right? When people with no insurance, we can't legally let people die. We pay for it anyways. Medicaid helps us subsidize it in a more manageable way. So just know you'll be paying for it anyways. Just know when undocumented people show up at the hospital, we pay for that too. You're not saving any money. Right? That just now we're paying for emergent healthcare where Tylenol is $500 a pill for 500 milligrams. You guys are not smart. You don't understand how things work. We pay for it all anyways. Now we're just going to pay more because you guys are geniuses.
And it's a $1.4 trillion improvement to deficits and debt. So, look, I don't think there's any way that you could possibly suggest that this is not a fiscally responsible bill.
Just anybody who can do math absolutely would suggest that. Just anybody whose brains work. And yeah, if you're not a billionaire, if you're a billionaire, sure, I would say it's saving, maybe it's helping you. It's not helping any of us. We're being robbed. So billionaires and corporations can have tax cuts. This is absurd. Oh, and okay. Sorry, I'm just looking at the time because I have an appointment I need to be to in like an hour. What time is it? Yeah, okay. And I want to make sure I get to something that's really annoying. So again, tomorrow I'm going to clip the debates in the Senate about this bill, and also Linda McMahon's being run over in the House, and we can't miss that. But what I want to get to is the steel. So today, June 4th, the steel and aluminum tariffs went into effect. And this is another thing this is how I know MAGA can't do math or read. Steel tariffs are about protectionism. Does what? It doesn't create jobs. It creates votes, right? Michigan and Pennsylvania are swing states. Protectionism, those targeted tariffs, particularly on steel. In Trump's first term, he did this same thing, right? He saved 1,000 jobs. And I'll just provide proof because I know I'm just a girl with braids. What could I know? Even though I'm exactly right. I love when MAGA's like, Trump brought manufacturing back. He saved 1,000 jobs in the steel industry and cost us $75,000 in manufacturing. Trump lost manufacturing jobs. He's doing the same thing again, except starting today, now there's 50% tariffs on steel and aluminum. If you understand how this economy works, bye-bye manufacturing jobs. He's doing it again. If the purpose was to bring back manufacturing jobs, nobody on earth would do this. He's crippling our economy yet again. And I'm just gonna highlight his dumb posts on it. Like he said, it is my great honor to raise the tariffs on steel and aluminum. This will cripple manufacturing. But we're bringing manufacturing back to the United States. Only in MAGA's heads who don't understand economics, because none of you went to college. Take macro and microeconomics and you would understand this is the fastest way to end American manufacturing. Anyways, today is Wednesday, June 4th. So now not just 25% tariffs on steel, which in his first term crippled manufacturing, lost us 75,000 jobs in manufacturing. Now they're at 50%. I wonder how many businesses we can cripple this time and how many Americans can lose their jobs. He says he's doing it for some jobs in Pittsburgh, which again, love Pittsburgh, blue collar workers. It's just steel is such a small part. There's only like 100-something thousand steel jobs in America. There's 160 million American workers who rely on, like this is not going to help anyone. It didn't the first time, and this is worse. And just in case anyone's curious, they did go into effect today. It's happening. So I just want to listen to an economist kind of explain some things about manufacturing in America. And by the way, I love Justin Wolfers because he's a like an economics professor at the University of Michigan, and he's a good teacher. Like he can take very complex ideas and say it very simply. So I really like this guy because maybe the few MAGA who aren't completely in cognitive dissonance, he might be able to dumb things down enough that they're like, oh shit, Trump is an idiot.
So what happens now?
Well, the first thing is actually the country that the president is clobbering the hardest is the United States. The steel industry, you should understand, is a very, very small part of our economy. It employs about 100,000 people in an economy of 160 million workers. I care about those people. My heart goes out to them. But I also want to remember the other 159,900,000, because steel is a small part of our economy, but it's a big part of the inputs through the rest of manufacturing. So if you wanted to find a way to really destroy American manufacturing, what you do is figure out a way to jack up the cost of steel for American manufacturers. And that's what the president's just done. In fact, he's done this once before. In 2018, he put tariffs on steel. And studies of that episode suggest that he did actually succeed in saving around 1,000 American jobs, which sounds terrific until you realize that the more expensive steel that rippled out through the rest of the manufacturing industry, which is much, much larger, cost another 75,000 jobs. So the president ended up destroying 75 times more jobs than he saved last time he tried the exact same trick.
Great job, MAGA. Keep up the dumb work. Not a clue what the F is going on. Truly, never an effing clue. Literally biting off your nose to spite your face. Hey, let's deport and terrify all the people who pick all our food. Why don't we do that? So we'll have a food shortage in America. You guys, because a grifting liar told me that brown people have my money. Like, you guys are clueless. I feel sad for your children. This is why I'm not having children, because of you. Because I know you guys can't read or think and are going to drive our country into the ground. And I won't have children and put them through late stage capitalism because none of you can think. Oh, and so he made that post. I think that was yesterday. This morning, Justin Wolfers was on CNN talking about like day one of steel tariffs on CNN.
So these steel tariffs doubling from 25 to 50%. What do you see as the immediate impact there?
Yeah, so Here's one way for viewers to think about it. The thing these steel tariffs do is they help Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, of course, the Steelers, that's where they make steel. But I'm coming to you from just outside Detroit. And here we make cars and a lot of manufacturing, and almost every other part of the manufacturing sector uses steel as an input. So we help Pittsburgh, we hurt Detroit. So what really matters now is the magnitudes. It turns out there's only about 5,000 people who work in steel in Pittsburgh. Depending how you count it, you could say there's several 100,000 who work in Detroit in the sort of manufacturing industries that use metals. And so immediately now you see the problem, which is this helps a small sliver of the economy, the folks in hard hats in Pittsburgh. But all of a sudden, when Ford goes to buy more steel, even if it's buying American steel, its steel manufacturer will say, well, guess what? If you don't buy it from us, you have to buy elsewhere. It's 50% more expensive elsewhere. So we're going to jack up our prices by 50%. And so all of the manufacturing firms.
Do you understand that? And I've explained free market capitalism. It's tariffing imports, raises prices in the industry. Even local companies raise prices. That's how free market capitalism works. But MAGA, you'd have to understand anything. Take a macroeconomics class. You probably won't pass, but it might help. Your children have something when you are gone.
In Detroit are going to face these much higher costs. And by the way, manufacturers in other countries don't face this higher surcharge. And as a result, it's going to really hurt the rest of the manufacturing industry. And on net, will almost certainly cost America jobs.
You know, we have a graphic that actually shows what happened in 2018 in the first Trump administration with steel tariffs that he put in place there. By one analysis, it did increase steel jobs by about 1,000 jobs, but it decreased manufacturing jobs overall by 75,000. So as you just laid out, some people suggest it adds jobs in Pittsburgh, but takes them away from Detroit. So these steel tariffs doubling.
It's almost like MAGA's brains don't work, and they listen to a guy say men shouldn't be wearing makeup, but yet paints himself with horrible makeup every morning and steals from them and lies to them. And everyone in his first administration says that he can't read, to the point where Tulsi Gabbard had to make an announcement that they're going to get a Fox News anchor to come in and act out the national intelligence report. So that because Trump refuses to read anything. But yeah, believe him, believe the grifting weirdo that ran every business into the ground and had to get bailed out. Why not listen to anyone that can do math? What could ever go wrong? Oh, and this is a good point too.
Journal reports several traditional and electric vehicle makers and their suppliers are considering shifting some auto parts manufacturing to China.
Oh, because of the price of steel now skyrocketing, and all these someone mentioned John Deere, Caterpillar's talking to, they're all going to shift manufacturing overseas. I thought we were bringing manufacturing back. That's so weird that Trump has no idea how the economy works, and whoever bribes him, he just does whatever they say.
To avoid looming factory shutdowns, people familiar with the situation said ideas under review include producing electric car motors in Chinese factories and shipping made in America motors to China to have magnets installed.
Yes. Look, this is not just about rare earth minerals, although the story you tell just there is a very good and important one. The president has also recently threatened 50% tariffs on the European Union. It turns out if you want to set up any kind of manufacturing plant, almost certainly you're going to use precision manufacturing equipment, the stuff that gets the soup into the can and stuff like that, that comes from Germany or Italy. The important intellectual point for your audience to understand is when we talk about tariffs, often these are tariffs on things that are inputs into American production. And so that makes it more expensive, more difficult, more costly for American manufacturers to produce, and has no effect on the rest of the world. And that in turn makes American manufacturers less internationally competitive. So it's not just that we're hurting foreign consumers, we're hurting American manufacturers at exactly the same time throughout this trade agenda. It's not just rare earth minerals.
That's what MAGA will never understand, is that Trade and world economics, global economics is about cooperation, not competition. And you guys are in a cult led by a malignant narcissist that knows nothing about cooperation and global economics. He's just a grifter that steals from people. That's what you guys aren't getting. You guys are bankrupting the few American manufacturers left by making it more expensive to import things like precision tooling machines. Steel is more expensive. The people that make Campbell's soup is like, we're going to move our manufacturing out of this country. We can't afford aluminum. Imagine how many things in this country are in aluminum cans. You are literally bankrupting what is left of manufacturing. Take an economics class. Stop listening to a grifting idiot. That is, truly, for your children. You obviously don't care about yourselves. Do it for your children. Oh, this is another great Caroline clip.
Thanks, Caroline.
You're welcome.
You've got U.S. business leaders begging for certainty. So why did the president suddenly decide to hike tariffs on steel and aluminum again?
You also have U.S. business leaders begging to meet with this president and begging to come to the White House to talk to him because they know that he is a negotiator in chief, that he's...
No, he's an idiot. That's why they're... Do you notice how she can never answer a question? Yeah, they're begging to talk to him because he's an idiot. And a grifter and stealing from everyone. Yeah, they're like, hey, someone needs to talk to some sense into the guy. But also, you're incapable of answering a question, and it's annoying.
You know that paper is more sophisticated.
Thank you so much. By the way, if you're not following me, please do. I only need 40 followers or 39 to get to 100 or 200,000. If you're not following me, please do. And this is always, I clipped this because it's true. There is an easy way out of all of this. Trump is doing most of this illegally. I find it fascinating, MAGA. I've debated so many of you, and you're always like, I'm not paying federal taxes. I'm being taxed without representation. You actually are now. It's time for the Boston Tea Party. Trump is using fake emergency powers to tax us all on top of the other taxes, the state and federal taxes. Every time we go to the cash register, we're going to be taxed again. Congress are the only people, the people we directly send to Congress to represent us. Those are the people who can tax us. And those are also the people that can stop Trump. It is conservatives in Congress that gave him these stupid economic powers, faking national emergencies that weren't real. The minute they take them away, this can all end.
Historically and constitutionally, the most important body here is Congress. The Constitution gives the power over tariffs to Congress. Every congressman is going home. Every congressman's refusing to hold town halls. They know if they held town halls, they'd hear a barrage. I can tell you a personal story. I want to buy a family car, a second car. We're getting by with one. I got kids. It's a pain. But I don't want to be this sucker who buys a car today, given that tariffs might come off tomorrow. My mother-in-law wants to buy a washing machine. She feels exactly the same way. And your viewers will have the same stories in their families. And what you're going to see then is the store that would have sold my mother-in-law that washing machine is going to be down on sales. And they're going to therefore have to cut back on employment. And that store and that store's owners are going to be angry and they wonder why their congressman's not taking action. So I think the most important thing I want to leave your viewers with is an understanding that if you're angry about the present moment, it's being enabled by Congress. Congress isn't doing it, but it's being enabled by Congress. And when the president says the courts getting involved is unconstitutional, the president's just worried. We can impose all the tariffs we want. The courts are just saying, hey, Congress should be involved here. And the White House realizes that Congress isn't going to pass any of these things because they're foolish, but the tariffs are foolish. Congress might be too. But Congress is also frightened to stand up to the president. And that's the biggest institution that I think is missing in action right now.
Of how you can dumb everything down for people. But again, MAGA would have to listen and not be in a cult in order for that to be true. And I think MAGA is very clearly in a cult. I was going to say this. I every day start and set out to like do. I'm just so upset by what's going on with immigration. It like makes me want to cry. I think Friday, maybe I'll do reports on immigration. I mean, we all know what's going on, and I have hundreds of clips on immigration to talk about, but I just also want to focus on us being robbed in this bill as it moves through the Senate. So tomorrow, I think I'm not sure what the debate schedule is for this bill, nor when they're scheduling the vote in the Senate. So hopefully I'll look into that. And then maybe on Fridays, we'll do some immigration. I mean, I think we all know what's going on, but I just want to also focus on the fact that we're being effing robbed and not get around it. I want to play. Okay, wait, let me play this Fox Business clip first, which was on the growth. By the way, we've been downgraded again on economic growth, and they're saying, oh, our economic growth, not with Trump's tariffs, like we got downgraded again. U.S. growth is slowing again. While Republicans lie.
U.S. growth is apparently slowing even more than initially predicted. The OECD, this is a 38-country economic cooperative, revised growth downward to 1.6% for 2025 from the previous 2.2% the group had projected just in March. The OECD says the grim outlook is a result of increasing trade barriers and prolonged uncertainty from tariffs. This alert.
Just to be clear, just from Trump's disaster in March, we've been downgraded again. So miss me with the effing BS that everything's going to be fine. It is not going to be fine. I'm trying to think of which clip it is that talks about this. Oh, this is one about PPP, but this is not, okay. I think it's this one. They're arguing in the Rules Committee about these bills. And again, and I think this is good clarification because Republicans keep lying and saying, oh, we've got 1.4 million undocumented immigrants. We all know the gross word they use on Medicaid, which is an effing lie that was corrected by the CBO. And they said, no, when we say 13.7 million people are getting kicked off Medicaid, it's going to be American citizens. And I talked about this. There are state programs, I think in 11 states, in blue states, that give health insurance to undocumented immigrants, which is smart, right? Because it doesn't matter when they show up at the emergency room, we're paying for it anyways. It's just emergent healthcare is the most expensive type for a state to pay. If you give them insurance and we do a preventative healthcare model where they can get medicine earlier and don't show up with stage 4 type problems or needing $500 Tylenols in the emergency room, it's cheaper for states' budgets. But that's not Medicaid. It doesn't come out of any federal budget, right? Those are state budgets. So finally, somebody explained that in the Rules Committee, and I will keep this clip forever so that when people continue to lie, I can just pull it out. Oh, hold on. Let me make sure. I gotta find my clip. Sometimes I forget. Oh, I didn't mean for you guys to have to look at all this, but let me find it. I just recorded it before the live. What's happening? Close. Okay. It's right here. Where is it? I might have to text it to myself or cast from my phone. Oh, it's right here. Can I text this to myself? Is that possible? I think I can. Oh, this is going to take up a lot of memory. I need to remember to delete this. Hold on one second. I'm just going to text it to my iPad because if I add it in the cloud, it takes forever. Unless it's... Oh, no, it is on my iPad. I don't know why I couldn't see. I found it. Okay. brace yourself. Margarine's future, the ghost of Margarine's future, is the chair of the Rules Committee. Virginia Fox. This will be Margarine in 10 years.
You're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. If I could just set the record straight. I'm not sure exactly what the gentlelady was saying when she said that we were saying things that weren't accurate. And I'm not telling you I know that it's accurate or inaccurate. All I know is that 1.4 million illegal aliens being on Medicaid, particularly Medicaid expansion, is a CBO, Congressional Budget Office number. I didn't make it up. The committee didn't make it up. That's a Congressional Budget Office. No, I'm not going to yield. I'm just saying the facts. It's a Congressional Budget Office number that was given to us as members of the Energy and Commerce Committee. That's where that came from. It's not something we made up. We didn't just pull that out of the air. It seems like today we're being accused of just pulling stuff out of the air. I don't know what the number is. Madam Chairman, I make no statement as to that I have personal knowledge of the illegal aliens who may or may not be on Medicaid expansion. But the Congressional Budget Office said that by specifically saying they couldn't get it, we were going to take 1.4 million illegal immigrants off the rolls. So you can't have it both ways, I would say, Madam Chair. The folks who want to say that we're taking these people off of Medicaid,
You're lying. God, these people are ridiculous.
particularly Medicaid expansion, can't be saying that at the same time as saying they're not there or that we're making that number up. That number came from the Congressional Budget Office. Now, people who listen to me over the years know that I don't put a lot of stock in Congressional Budget Office numbers, which is why I'm not personally endorsing the number.
Understand what he's doing because they don't want, like, when the math isn't mapping, the Congressional Budget Office is like, the deficit is about to be, this bill is the single largest blowout to the deficit in one bill in history and adding to the debt. And so he's trying to invalidate math, but then using math. And it's not that the Congressional Budget Office math is wrong. He's lying about what the number is, what the calculation is actually about in the first place. But you can't have it both ways, weirdo.
I'm just saying that's what they said. That's where the number came from. It's not something that Republicans made up. And with that, Madam Chair, I'm going to yield back.
Thank you, Mr. Griffith. Mr. McGovern.
Well, first of all, let me thank both the witnesses for being here. I apologize that I was out of the committee room for a while. We had a leadership meeting. So let me just, having said that, let me just say I agree with every single word that Neva Glass was just said. So I want to associate myself with her. But in terms of the CBO issue, I think I'll go back and I'll double check what they said about undocumented immigrants and healthcare. But if I'm not mistaken, they made a distinction between what is federally funded and what is state funded in terms of who is getting the health care. And there is a difference, especially when it comes to the stuff that we oversee. But I will be happy to get the details and pass them on to the gentleman. I yield to the gentlelady.
So, and I think that is really important, that you can't take a number that is in a CBO score that is about 1.4 million that states may be providing in their decision and then say that it is Medicaid and federally funded. And I will send you, Madam Chair, I request to enter into the record an article by factcheck.org stating a false claim about illegal immigration and Medicaid.
Without objection.
And in here, it actually very clearly says that a state program is by definition not Medicaid. And that's the difference, that when you refer to the fact that there are people, and each state may make that determination, but that is not Medicaid, that is not federal funds, because undocumented cannot utilize Medicaid. So we should stop using that number. Unless you want to say there are 1.4 million who might be using state programs. But that.
You. Is that clear now? So they can all stop lying. And he's like, oh, I don't know. I'm confused. You all know. You were corrected so many times. Thank you for the hats. Yeah. And yet continue to keep lying like we're all idiots. I'm so conservatives are the biggest liars. And I want to help you, MAGA. It is better to have state-funded healthcare for undocumented. It saves money in the end. If we were smart, we'd be doing it in Arizona, because when they show up in the emergency room for emergent care, that is the most expensive, and we pay for it anyways. You guys are clueless, truly clueless as to how the healthcare industry works. We would save the most money if we all had universal healthcare. This is pointless. And you guys are like, yeah, let's take away any sort of healthcare for undocumented immigrants so we can pay $500 a Tylenol in our tax dollars. Geniuses, you all are. Literal geniuses. Keep up the great work. You guys could not find your way out of a paper bag if your literal lives depended on it. We are almost to 500K. Keep tapping the screen. I forgot. I have to go back in my presentation really quick because I am not there. I forgot I left. Okay. Where am I here? I'm just trying to figure out what I want to. Oh yeah, Scaramucci. I forgot about these clips. Sorry, I want to play one clip or no. I'm just deciding what I want to play. I think I'm going to do Friday. Well, hopefully it depends. If something important is happening in the Senate on this bill and we're going to be robbed, then I'll follow that for the next 2 days. But if not, if the Senate is going to take Friday off and they're only debating today and tomorrow, then I'll do that. I'll figure it out though. We'll see. But maybe we'll do immigration on Friday. But I want to first of all show one clip of this awesome professor. I don't want to get her. I was going to say Capshaw. I don't know why. Her name's Kate Shaw. She's a University of Pennsylvania, an Ivy League law professor who's trying. And by the way, Josh Hawley has an Ivy League law degree and knows very well what she's trying to say, right? They have this hearing about, and Republican senators are trying to lie and say that federal judges are activist judges ruling for Democrats, which is not true. And I love this woman. Kate Shaw's brilliant. Again, she's a Penn law professor and she was schooling Josh Hawley. I love when Josh Hawley's embarrassed. Also, his bar license should be revoked for this idiocy. And trying to make up for asking for FEMA aid over and over and over.
See the chart, the Trump chart, which was done really only once Trump came into office for the first time. Now, you don't think this is a little bit anomalous? You don't think that's a little bit strange?
A very plausible explanation, Senator, you have to consider is that he is engaged in much more lawless activity than other presidents, right?
You don't think
you must
this
that as
was
a
never
possibility.
used before the 1960s, and suddenly Democrat judges decide we love the nationwide injunction, and then when Biden comes to office, no, actually.
It's Republican appointees as well, Senator, and the 1960s is where some scholars locate the beginning of this, but
identify one
others,
before then?
Mila Sahoni, who's another scholar of universal injunction, suggests 1913 is actually the first, and others in the 20s.
The Republic endured for 150 years before there was a nationwide injunction.
Well, the federal government was doing a lot less until 100 years ago. So there's many things that have changed in the last 100 or the last 50 years.
So long as it is a Democrat president in office, then we should have no nationwide injunctions. If it's a Republican president, then this is absolutely fine, warranted, and called for. How can our system of law survive on those principles, Professor?
I think a system in which there are no meaningful constraints on the president is a very dangerous system.
And let's see the chart, the Trump chart.
By the way, just as many Trump judges are, not necessarily Trump appointed, but Reagan appointed, Bush appointed. It's not just judges appointed by Biden or whatever they're implying. That's not true. And yeah, Trump tried to repeal birthright citizenship, fire every federal worker. Are you joking? I think it's very obvious he's done a bunch of things. He has which all we know are 50, but again, just quoting a libertarian think tank that did the legwork. And as of now, we know 50 of the people Trump has in a concentration camp in Seco in El Salvador were entered this country legally and have never committed a crime. I wonder why federal judges would be issuing nationwide injunctions when Trump's sending people who are here legally to concentration camps in other countries. It's mind-boggling that this is where we're at. Oh, and can I just say, like, if I could marry anyone in Congress, it would definitely be Summerlee. I'm going to clip more of this hearing because, oh my God, Linda McMahon, whose job is to destroy the Department of Education, was under oath in the House today. She was under oath in the Senate on Monday, so I'll find some of those clips. We learned she can't do math or multiplication. And today, God, she got run over in the Oversight and Accountability Committee. Watch Summerlee. It's scary. It's scary how little this woman knows.
So let's talk about so-called illegal DEI, as you all have called it, a phrase you've continually bring up, that I'm still unclear on, especially after 3 federal judges have preliminarily ruled that your illegal DEI guidance is likely unconstitutional and unenforceable, illegal, as it were. Secretary McMahon, during your confirmation hearing, you were asked by Senator Chris Murphy if an African-American history class violated the administration's position on diversity, equity, and inclusion. You said you'd like to look into it. You've been on the job for a few months now. Have you been able to look into it?
I do not think that African studies or Middle East studies or Chinese studies are part of DEI if they are taught as part of the total history package. So that if you're giving the facts on both sides, of course they're not DEI.
I don't know what both sides of African-American history would be.
Well, if African-American history is part of
certainly, but what we recognize throughout education is that a course is only 1 year or 1 semester. It would be impossible to teach African history and say European history at the same time. Do you not agree that it makes sense that there would be separate courses for these courses of study? It has happened throughout history. We're able to do it not just in history courses. We're able to do it with different types of literature courses or different types of music courses. One wouldn't learn about Baroque music and necessarily have to also learn about African drumming at the same time, right? We can separate those courses.
Yes, we can. And I think just as we teach U.S. history as a separate course.
Certainly. So you do not agree. So you do agree that African American cultures and African history should not be eliminated from courses, particularly AP African history.
Well, I think that African history can certainly be taught and not be considered a DEI course.
Oh, thank you. I have a few other examples that I would like your thoughts on, simple yes or no. If this is a legal DEI, an example, would you say that it would be an illegal DEI for a lesson plan on the Tulsa Race Massacre?
I'd have to get back to you on that.
Do you know what the Tulsa Race Massacre is?
I'd like to look into it more and get back to you on it.
No effing idea.
Okay, so I look forward to that. How about the book Through My Eyes by Ruby Bridges, for instance?
I haven't read that.
Have you learned about Ruby Bridges?
If you have specific examples you'd like
that was a specific example.
I'll be very happy.
It was an incredibly specific example.
I named a specific your questions, book. And I will look into it and get back to you on them.
Thank you. How about a school having a voluntary celebration for Pride Month?
Well, I think that
voluntary.
Well, let's make sure that in our schools,
this is yes or no?
We're looking. No, it's not.
Okay. How about social studies standards that teach that President Biden won the 2020 election?
I think our studies should all be taught accurately.
Yes or no?
I think our studies should.
No. The question was, do you believe that social studies standards that teach that President Biden won the 2020 election is an illegal DEI? Yes or no?
I think I have said we should teach accurately. We should.
No, you have not answered the question. I don't understand why you're incapable of answering.
I'm just not giving you the answer you want.
No, I want the answer, whatever your answer is.
I just gave you the answer.
No, the answer is yes or no.
No, the answer is
the answer is yes or no.
Don't say yes or no, because then Trump's going to be mad. She admits that, of course, that's what should be taught, because it's true. Can you imagine? And by the way, Ruby Bridges attended. I'm sorry if I'm wrong, but to my knowledge, she attended that book Through My Eyes. She attended the first, she was the first Black child to attend whites only elementary school in New Orleans. At least that's who I think Ruby Bridges is. And if I'm wrong, I'm sorry, but that's who I think she is. And I know that. And it's scary to me. Linda, she doesn't know anything about anything. And by the way, I'm going to find those clips like of her not being able to do basic math. They had to be like, she's like, it's 12 trillion. They're like, what? No, it's 12 billion. Like, the woman is a literal idiot. And now she's trying to say, well, let's teach whatever's true. So you can't say yes or no to whether or not we should teach that Joe Biden won the 2020 election. Again, the only person, the Department of Education does not make curriculum decisions, right? Like that's state to state. There should be uniform curriculum. There's not, but thank God Trump's not in control of that, because God knows what delusions and lies he'd have us teaching. But again, the only purpose of the Department of Education is to create equity, because we fund public schools basically with Jim Crow laws, right? They're extension of Jim Crow. There is off property taxes. That's why public schools in rich neighborhoods look like airports, and public schools in poor neighborhoods look like they're falling down, and use textbooks from the 80s. And the Department of Education creates different types of equity and equality. It is MAGA. You have to understand, these kids that are in school now are the people whose lifetime earnings will be taxed so that we can retire. Use your brains. We need to teach these people. We need to feed them while they're learning. We need to send them to pre-K education. All these things affect the lifetime earnings of an individual and upward mobility, which will directly affect our ability to retire. Yeah, our kids are doomed because MAGA can't read or use their effing brains. Keep tapping the screen. We are almost to 500K. And I wanted to do one more. I have one more point I want to make. I'm not going to get too deep into immigration. Oh, I didn't get to screenshot this, but I need to tell you guys. Remember this whole thing, and I was furious about the congresswoman who's been charged with a felony because they don't have anything on Mayor Ross Baraka, and so they had to drop that like misdemeanor trespassing. He's suing Alina Habba for like false arrest and all sorts of things. I cannot effing wait. Yeah, good luck, Alina Habba. I can't wait. Like he's suing like the DOJ, Alina Habba. Oh my God, it's so beautiful. I cannot wait. I can't wait. Like, so that we have that to look forward to. But I wanted to Hakeem Jeffries address like these people, these a-holes that are wearing masks, because these aren't ICE agents, right? These are cops and other random law enforcement agents that have been like conscripted to do ICE arrests. And Hakeem Jeffries addressed this, which I was like, thank God, because this has to be unconstitutional. Like, this is, well, I'll let him tell it, but I'm so glad that someone's addressing the fact that these people have masks on and are terrorizing people.
Thanks. Jeffries, you had said after Congresswoman McIver was, I think you said, physically accosted by ICE officials that you wanted.
It's the woman who's charged with a felony, right? And all those ICE agents had masks on. Just reminding everyone, I know I spent like 2 hours going through every video I could find about it, but we're talking about the black congresswoman that Alina Habba is charging with a felony for doing nothing but being accosted by ICE agents in masks. Remember, any congressperson can show up at any ICE facility without prior warning to do a spot check, to check on the conditions inside.
Thanks. Jeffries, you had said after Congresswoman McIver was, I think you said, physically accosted by ICE officials that you wanted them identified, the officials that accosted them. Have they been identified, and what do you expect from, or do you want the agents that were harassing Jerry Nadler's staffers in his district office also identified? What's the latest, or how are Democrats going to respond to the Jerry?
Every single ICE agent who's engaged in this aggressive overreach and are trying to hide their identities from the American people will be unsuccessful in doing that. This is America. This is not the Soviet Union. We're not behind the Iron Curtain. This is not the 1930s. And every single one of them, no matter what it takes, no matter how long it takes, will of course be identified. That, in fact,
let me give you an example. Like, I'm a former historical researcher. I will find out who you are in court documents. Like, people will find out eventually. Just saying, if you think, and well, I'll play another clip after this, but I mean, yeah, like, you think you're going to hide your faces and not take accountability for assaulting people? I don't know how that's going to work out. Eventually, people have the right to face their accuser in courts of law.
is the law. And we're going to make sure that the American people have the transparency necessary to hold people accountable when they're folks who cross the line here in America. That's what's going to happen. And as I mentioned earlier, and I spoke to Congressman Nadler about this, our first priorities are always going to be making sure the person who was on the front line is in the best possible place to move forward. That's the case with LaMonica MacGyver, and it is also the case with Congressman Nadler's brave, young, patriotic staffer. And we've got to address those issues first. That's the human thing to do, while simultaneously, of course, preparing to deal with policy implications, which, as I mentioned, are underway.
I'm just going to play another clip of, oh God, I can't remember his name. I actually don't even care. But the head of, whoever the acting like director of ICE is right now, which this, wait, I know I have, okay, found it. Oh no. And maybe I need to play two more clips. I forgot. And again, these are all I have so many immigration clips. It makes me want to cry when I clip them. And then sometimes I don't have like the emotional capacity to like even go through them because it's so depressing. Like, thank you for the headphones. You know, like if, for instance, in that San Diego, like family neighborhood where the like ICE agents have masks on and are like throwing flash grenades. Like, what the is going on in this effing country? Like, here, and this is, what's his name? Here, let me. ICE director Todd Lyons, that's his name. He wanted to be like, oh, let me tell you why people are wearing masks, which we already know why. They're wearing masks because they're not real ICE agents, like they're police officers, whatever. And people were recognizing them and then looking up and being like, oh, this person's been arrested for horrible things or was kicked out of the police department and now works for a geo group, like all sorts of things. And they don't want people to know these are weirdos who aren't actual ICE agents, so they're covering their faces. But here is Todd Lyons' excuse for why this is happening. Now, whilst you're hearing this BS, I want you to picture how Trump broadcasts people's names, judges' names, has them being stalked and harassed by MAGA and terrorized, right? And literally puts out lists of people. Kash Patel, the director of the FBI, put out lists of people who are like MAGA lists of people that, you know, should be whatever you want to look at. But that's how ridiculous it is that they say that this guy would say this.
I'm going to answer the mask question. So, no, not the mask, the mask. So, a lot of agencies were invited to come out 2 weeks ago in Los Angeles where we ran an operation where ICE officers were doxxed. So let's just say that again. People are out there taking photos.
Trump does his dox people. And by the way, they weren't doxed. Look, just to be clear, I don't want to say the word dox because people don't know what doxing means. Doxing is taking information that is not in the public sphere and releasing it. So no, these people weren't doxed. There needs to be a different word. Doxing is something different.
The names their faces and posting them online with death threats to their family.
If you assault people on camera publicly, then people might figure out who you are because your bio is online. Yeah, that's how the internet works.
Themselves. So I'm sorry if people are offended by.
Yeah, that's a good point. Someone, sorry, Jesus said ID'd. Yeah, we shouldn't be saying docs. These people were ID'd, and Trump IDs, I don't know, judges or and who they are, and tells MAGA, these are your enemies. Same thing.
Them wearing masks, but I'm not going to let my officers.
We're IDing people, assaulting people with no reason or whatever. Trump is just saying anybody who disagrees with my delusions, grifting, and lies, and me dismantling the Constitution deserves to be publicly ID'd.
Agents go out there and put their lives on the line and their family on the line because people don't like what immigration enforcement is. They are wearing those masks because we ran an operation with the Secret Service. We arrested someone that was going online, taking their photos, posting their families, their kids' Instagram, their kids' Facebooks, and targeting them. So let me ask, is that the issue here, that we're just upset about the masks? Or is anyone upset with the fact that ICE officers' families were labeled terrorist?
It's about the identification. Some identities don't have labeled IDs. All right, intentionally targeting heads of households in an effort to financially pressure people to leave the country. I'll just move it over.
Great question. And then he just runs out. Yeah, like that. Actually, that's BS, and it's not true. Like what he's accusing people of doing, I mean, that's not reality of what's happening. Like, you want to talk about? Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's saying that Trump is IDing people, lying about them, putting false information out, saying they're whatever anti-Semites or attended Palestinian protests they never attended, which anyone can attend any protest they want to. There's nothing wrong with opposing and us funding genocide. Like, it's an absolute joke. This is the Gestapo. They want to be able to terrorize people and do it anonymously, but they can dox and lie about whoever they want publicly. It's always been the problem with law enforcement. By the way, Carly Stutz, thanks for joining and subscribing, becoming a member on YouTube. Thanks for joining the commie crew. You're the best. Appreciate you. Okay, I have an appointment in like 15 minutes, so I need to go. Thank you for the headphones. Amazing. I wish I could drown out Trump. There's no noise canceling technology on this earth that's good enough to save us from the hellscape we're in. Okay. I was going to say, I've got to go. I have an appointment in a few minutes. At least it's online, so I won't be late. But I will be back tomorrow, and then I'm going to clip all the debates in the Senate about this bill that's robbing us, our children, and our grandchildren, and more clips that embarrass Linda McMahon publicly and all that stuff. So we'll pretty much spend the day in Congress tomorrow and then do more immigration stuff on Friday. Thank you guys so much for 533K and all of the support. I appreciate you guys so much. You guys keep me sane, just like I keep you sane. I shall see you guys exactly 4 hours. Time flies when you're super depressed and being robbed by conservative idiots. I shall see you guys tomorrow. I'll start between 11:30 and 12:30. It's just hard for me. I take care of my dad and I have different things to do. I just have things I have to take care of. That's why it's hard for me to start on time sometimes, but probably by 12 at the latest. My schedule is built around people that I can't plan against. I'm basically that's why I can't start on time every single day. Oh, but I should say, if you're not, whether you're watching on Twitch, on YouTube, on X, wherever, just go to my Linktree and subscribe, which that's the same thing as following. It's free. Subscribe to YouTube. So whenever I go live, it'll just send you an alert. That's what I use. Like, it lists alerts of when people go live, and also join the Discord. Just copy and paste the Discord link into your browser and join that way, because then whenever I go live, you'll know exactly when. It's just sometimes those little things on TikTok are unreliable. The YouTube ones are good though, and the Discord Discord alert. So that way, if you have your alert set right, it will tell you exactly when I go live. So that's my best advice, because until my schedule and responsibilities change, it's just going to probably be like within that time span. I just can't. Yeah, the Discord ones are really good, but also it depends on like how your alerts are set. I like the YouTube ones too, but that way you'll know when I'm live exactly. But it will always be between like 11:30, like 12:15 Pacific time I'm talking. So otherwise 2:30 and 3:15. I just have some things I have to do before I can lock myself in a room for 4 hours. So that's why. Okay, so again,